Table read when Wendy grew up.
Excellent. All right, Dennis, it's your
Good.
show.
It was like 50% more wins.
When Wendy Grew Up, written by Jenna and John, based on characters from J.M. Barrie's Peter and Wendy. Episode 1, Fade In. Interior, Darling House, Wendy's room, night. London, 1905. Wendy Darling, 16, lies in bed wide awake while her window rattles with the wind. A man's booming voice yells down the stairs. Wendy grabs a teddy bear off the floor and flops back onto bed, squeezing the bear over her eyes. Rattle, 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 bang. The window flies open and Wendy sits up with a gasp. Skeleton leaves cascade into the room like scrolls of silver, followed by the faintest dusting of snow. Wendy smiles and looks to the window, anticipating. A shadow of a teen boy emerges at the windowsill with his hands on his hips, floating.
Peter!
Wendy springs from her bed and wraps both her arms around Peter's neck in a hug. They embrace tightly, floating into the bedroom.
I thought you'd forgotten me.
I'd never forget you, you goose.
More shouts come from downstairs. Wendy listens, worried.
Let's go!
Wait! Let me wake John and Michael. I didn't expect you.
I told you I'd be back.
It's been 4 years, you goose.
Peter studies Wendy's face.
How old are you?
I'm 16 tomorrow.
You're grown up?
Wendy ruffles Peter's hair and pushes his face playfully.
I'm not grown up. You see?
Wendy floats around the room by herself, twirling in her nightgown. Peter laughs, satisfied.
I'll get John and Michael.
Wendy floats toward her door, but stops with a yank. She notices Peter holding onto her wrist. She looks at him. Peter's face is stoically still.
Forget them, Wendy. We need to go, right now.
What? Why? What's happened?
Peter looks down. Wendy floats to him, lifting his chin up.
Peter, tell me what happened.
Peter looks around her room, and Wendy follows his gaze. The night lamps flicker, and the shadows seem to grow along the walls, forming into tall tree trunks surrounding them. The shouts downstairs have stopped, and it's silent. Then a faint tick-tock, tick-tock. Wendy turns back to Peter. He holds his hand out to her. It's trembling.
Why are you shaking?
Wendy grabs his hand with both of hers, steadying it.
Is it the Lost Boys? Are they in trouble? Are you in trouble?
Please, Wendy, come with me. Just one last time.
Last time? Are you not coming back for me anymore?
I'll always come back for you.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
We have to go.
We're safe here. Stay with me.
Peter's shadow shakes its head violently no, grabbing onto Peter's arm and dragging him towards the window. Peter shakes himself loose and slumps on the windowsill, torn.
You look older.
I'm the same.
Wendy's eyes dart around the evolving room, the shadows of trees.
I don't hear Father. He's been shouting all night.
Perhaps you fell asleep.
Or perhaps this is just... And you're not... Will you kiss me?
Peter brightens, floating off the sill towards Wendy. She waits with a smile, eyes closed, chin lifted towards Peter. Wendy's eyes pop open as Peter plops something in her hand, an acorn. Wendy looks at it, disappointed.
And my kiss?
Peter presents his palm. Wendy looks at it.
Don't you remember?
Remember what?
Wendy takes a breath and lunges forward, wrapping her arms around Peter's neck, planting her mouth onto his. The two kiss, suspended in midair, until Peter pushes Wendy off.
Stop that!
Peter rubs the arm of his sleeve over his mouth, washing away her kiss. Wendy reels back, stunned. Then, like a thread cut, Wendy falls. She crashes down on her side with a thud. Peter's eyes widen and he flies down to her.
Wendy? I'll be back!
Where are you going?
To get Tink. Pixie dust, happy thoughts. You can't come to Neverland if you can't fly, silly goose. No grown-ups allowed.
I'm not grown up.
Peter zips out of the window and into the night sky. Wendy holds onto her side, gasping for air, when she sees a menacing cloud shaped as a pirate ship cover the moon. Interior, Darling's house, Wendy's room, day. Wendy shoots up from her bed, gasping.
Peter!
Wendy squints, the beaming sunlight attacks her eyes, and she looks around her bright room. Pastel bedding, curtains motionless, and the window shut, latched, and locked. Wendy's door flies open, and LIZA, 50s, boisterous governess, rushes in and clutches her chest.
Oh, good God, Wendy! Why scream like that before I've had a chance to make coffee? Oh, what's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. I had the most vivid dream. I was right here
No,
and I...
no. I'm not getting sucked into one of your stories again. Your brothers are waiting for you to walk them to school.
By myself?
You're 16 now. Young woman, and that comes with responsibility.
LIZA snaps as to say, get to it, before exiting, closing the door behind her. Wendy leaps out of bed. Crunch. Wendy looks down and lifts her foot, revealing a skeleton leaf underneath it. She bends down to pick it up when her side pings her. Lifting up her nightgown in front of her vanity, she sees a large bruise formed over her ribs. Wendy touches the bruise as a hopeful smile spreads across her face. Interior, Darling house, closet, day. Wendy, dressed in a blue day dress and hair plaited, digs in a dark closet, pulls out a woven sewing basket. She sets it on the floor and opens it up, picking up a folded newspaper resting on top. The paper is folded to an advertisement for Mayfield girls finishing school in Bristol. Pushing the paper aside, Wendy combs through the basket when finally she finds what she's looking for. A thimble. Wendy inspects the thimble on her finger. It's decorated silver with a wraparound image of a pirate ship, a mermaid's tail, a feathered arrow. A boy's scream snaps Wendy out of her trance. Her father's inaudible shouts follow the screams.
Wendy! Wendy, Moira, Angela, Darling!
Wendy pockets the thimble and shuts the basket closed. Interior, Darling house, dining room, day. Wendy rushes into the dining room and relaxes upon seeing LIZA holding Michael, 7, mouth open, as she shoves a spoonful of medicine into his mouth. LIZA releases Michael and he plops down at the dining room table with John, 14, and Mr. Darling, 45.
That medicine tastes like death.
Wendy ruffles Michael's hair as he wipes away tears.
Don't encourage him.
Mrs. Darling, 40, is a quiet and graceful woman, kisses Wendy's head before sitting down next to her.
Happy birthday, darling. Did you make a wish for what you'd like?
It's been a while since I got a new doll or tea set.
Mrs. Darling and Mr. Darling exchange looks. John scoffs.
What would you do with a doll at your age?
Michael begins coughing, his face turning beet red.
Oh, I still taste that awfulness.
Mr. Darling slams his fist on the table, making everyone jump. Mrs. Darling quickly plops a piece of toast on Michael's plate.
Here, it'll disguise the taste.
Don't encourage him. If your mother says to take your medicine every morning and night, you do it without a fight. Enough disrespect. Understood?
Michael takes a bite of his toast, chewing loudly.
Understood!
Yes, sir.
Michael, mouth closed, please.
Michael flashes his chewed-up toast to his sister. Wendy and John look over to Mr. Darling, his eyes fuming.
Off to school now. And Wendy, no adventures along the way.
Of course, Mummy.
Exterior, London Street, day. Wendy holds onto Michael's hand loosely. She walks playfully. John marches ahead, head buried in his book about ships. Wendy eagerly takes in the adventurous streets, dodging double-decker carriages, street vendors, and stray dogs. Wendy looks down to see Michael pouting.
What part of school do you like the most?
Maths?
You just say you like maths because father likes maths.
I like maths because all men do.
The Darling children pass by the gates of Kensington Gardens. Inside, twin girls are playing, flapping their arms like wings as they chase each other. Wendy stops, watching them.
Oh, fairies! Fairies can be found in even the tiniest of gardens.
Real fairies?
Wendy nods to Michael. She watches the two girls and they're pointing and giggling at something in the bushes.
We'll be late.
John looks up from his book and Wendy and Michael are gone. He shuts his book with a groan. Exterior, Kensington Gardens, day. John chases after Wendy and Michael running into the garden.
Wendy! Michael, we'll be late.
We're just gonna find one fairy!
We'll be so fast.
John takes a seat on a bench, frustrated.
What should I tell Headmaster, So sorry, I got caught up playing make-believe. Hope I didn't miss anything important, like geometry.
Make believe? This is a real adventure. Help us, John!
John rolls his eyes and buries his nose in his book again. Wendy follows Michael through the long curtains of weeping willow branches.
Michael!
Wendy looks up and sees Michael climbing higher and higher.
I can't climb in the skirt.
It feels like I can fly from here.
Michael, stop! There's a fairy right there, and she's hiding.
Michael settles on a branch, squinting through the leaves.
Where?
I see her. Wait for me.
Wendy ties her skirt into a knot and begins climbing the branches slowly.
Wendy? When are you leaving us?
You mean to Neverland?
Mommy and Father talk at night, and they say you'll be married soon.
I'm too young to be married. They mean one day, not soon.
They said soon.
Wendy finally reaches Michael.
Did you hear them say anything about Bristol or finishing school?
So it's true? You're leaving?
Can I tell you a secret?
Michael nods solemnly.
Peter came to see me last night.
He did? But he left you behind?
No, he's coming back for me.
I wish I could remember Neverland.
How could you? We're still in nappies. How about after school, we'll play Neverland, and maybe that'll help you remember bits.
Can I be Peter?
Of course.
Where's the fairy?
Oh, right in there. She's hiding.
Michael peers through the branches again. A clump of leaves vibrates unnaturally. Both Wendy and Michael smile. John peeks his head through the willow's branches.
Honestly, Wendy, this is the latest we've ever been. Get down, Michael. You'll crack your neck.
Michael makes his way down the tree and Wendy follows, right as the thimble falls out of her pocket. Wendy gasps, scrambling down the tree. She hits the ground and starts fingering her way through the grass, fallen seeds and leaves.
My thimble! I lost it.
John pulls Wendy up by the arm. She looks longingly behind before exiting through the branches. Exterior street, boys' school, day. John walks briskly as Wendy and Michael hold hands. John enters the school's gate and Michael turns to Wendy.
I don't want to go to school.
Think of the headmaster as a pirate, and your book as your sword.
Michael smiles and blood springs a leak from his nostril.
Oh, you're bleeding.
Wendy takes the bottom of her skirt and wipes the blood from Michael's lip. He sniffs sharply and leans his head back.
Are you hurt?
No. Fine now.
Wendy watches as Michael drags his feet into the school. Exterior, Kensington Gardens, willow tree, day. Wendy combs through the dirt and leaves on her hands and knees. She looks and looks until she finally gives up, sitting with her back against the tree trunk, exhausted. Exterior, London street, day. Wendy walks back towards home, noticing that her hands are covered in dirt. She brushes them clean as she walks. A well-dressed gentleman, 25, spots Wendy checking out her swaying hips. He changes course to approach her.
Excuse me, miss.
Wendy turns and looks at well-dressed gentleman.
Yes? Me?
The gentleman's eyes bulge and his face turns bright red.
Oh, you're a child. I thought. I'm sorry. excuse me. No.
The gentleman spins around and slowly jogs off in the opposite direction of Wendy. She watches him, confused. Interior Darling house kitchen, day. Liza pulls fresh pastries out of the oven. Mrs. Darling polishes teacups.
I'm home!
Wendy enters the kitchen and both women freeze, mouths agape upon seeing the girl.
Oh, am I a fool to ask if the boys made it to school on time,
Wendy looks down, her shoes dusty, dress still tied in a knot with leaves, dirt, and a bloodstain from Michael's nose. Interior Darling house family room, day. Wendy, cleaned up in a new dress, happily observes a bustling tea party in full swing. A clock ticks away overhead. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Michael tugs on Wendy's arm.
Come on! You said we could play.
Later.
Michael groans and grabs a fistful of tea pastries, bouncing from one tiered pastry tray to another.
Ugh.
A bespectacled girl, 14, approaches John. He smiles awkwardly before running away upstairs, leaving the girl behind.
Wendy!
Wendy spots Alice, 15, a heavily freckled girl with a mouth as large as her voice, walk in through the front door.
Wendy, I haven't seen you since Easter, and something very important has happened to me.
Alice approaches Wendy, hand first, her large engagement ring leading the way. Wendy's eyes widen.
You're getting married? But we're the same age. Actually, I'm still 15 for another 2 months. You've got anyone? We should have children at the same time and play together.
Wendy glances over her shoulder, then leans into Alice's ear.
Peter. Ooh! Will he marry you? I don't think he ever wants to be married, but he's coming to see me tonight. Don't cheapen yourself, Wendy. What kind of man doesn't want to be married? Who will take care of him? Take care of him? Like a mum? All men want to marry women like their mums. Find someone here you like, and when Peter comes, you tell him that you've got a real man. What about him?
Alice looks to preppy boy, 17, standing next to his clingy mother. Wendy shakes her head and laughs along with Alice. Wendy then notices Gary, 17, charmingly carefree. He catches Wendy watching and smiles.
That's Gary Kent. He may like how boyish you are. I'm not boyish. You think I act like a boy? You know this. It's not your fault. You're the only girl with 2 brothers. At least you're pretty.
Wendy frowns and Alice slips her a small bronze tin.
Forget what I said. Go put this on. A tiny bit on your lips and cheeks.
Interior Wendy's room, day. Wendy opens Alice's tin, revealing pink wax. She delicately dips her fingers into it and dabs a bit on her cheeks and lips.
Arr!
Wendy yelps, seeing Michael charge at her with a toy sword.
Come on, Wendy! The pirates have taken over Neverland!
Interior nursery, day. Wendy chases Michael into his room. John's tucked away in the corner with his nose in a book.
What are you doing here?
Hiding? I don't like parties.
Wendy takes in the nursery and its magic. The night lights give a warm celestial glow all around the tall ceilings. Michael opens up a large wooden chest, pulling out a top hat.
It's Father's hat.
John quickly snatches the hat.
That's mine.
I'm Youth. I'm Joy. I'm Peter Pan. Captain Hook, this is your end. Raise your hook.
Hook's on the left hand.
Play. Don't be dull like Father.
Wendy guides Michael out of the room. John sets down his book and lifts the top hat, his fingers swiping dust gathered at the brim. It glistens with a gold shimmer as he hears a distant crowing outside. John's brows lift hopefully before they pinch together in a frown.
Don't be stupid.
John tosses the hat, discarding it toward the toy chest. Interior family room, day. Wendy enters the room and looks for Gary.
Wendy, Moira, Angela Darling?
He's right behind her.
Gary Kent?
Your name is prettier.
I suppose I have that in my favor since I'm so boyish.
Boyish?
Not looking, just... Never mind.
I think your mother invited every man in the neighborhood for you.
Oh, you consider yourself a man?
You consider yourself a boy?
I don't.
Gary touches Wendy's hand slightly. She looks down, her heart ticking loud, echoing all over the room until she hears a distant crowing and pulls her hand away.
Peter?
I'm Gary.
Wendy pushes past the crowd and straight to the window, looking outside. The sun setting and 2 bright stars peeking through the purpling sky.
What are you looking at?
Wendy notices that Gary has followed her, also looking out.
The second star to the right, straight on till morning.
Wendy looks down at her hand on the windowsill where she notices her pinky finger touching Gary's hand.
Straight on to where?
Gary's pinky moves to climb onto Wendy's. She allows his entire hand to envelop hers in a soft embrace.
Where dreams are born and time is never planned. Just keep an open mind and suddenly you'll find Neverland.
Clatter. Wendy quickly pulls her hand away and spins around to see spilled teacups and a silver tray on the floor. Mrs. Darling stands frozen, hands shaking with the hot tea pooling at her feet.
Mummy?
Wendy tracks her mother's eyes to Michael, his gaze fixed, trance-like, pale skin sweaty, and blood trickles from his right nostril, arms rigid and shaking as though possessed. Michael's eyes roll to the back of his head and he faints, hitting the floor with a thud. Interior Darling House dining room, night. Wendy pours tea for Dr. Atkinson, 50s, who sits at the dining table with Mrs. Darling and Mr. Darling.
Thank you. The cold medicine you started giving Michael has alcohol in it and has likely exacerbated his condition. His symptoms are aligned with a few other cases we've seen over the years.
Wendy pauses, listening.
A cancer of the blood. There's no cure and the prognosis is not good.
Mr. and Mrs. Darling sit frozen.
How much, time?
Given his state, weeks. He's likely to have had this for years. You may have noticed he bruises and he bleeds easier than most.
Wendy begins to nod, but Mrs. Darling shakes her head. No.
Will he be in pain?
No reason for him to be in pain. We can make sure of that. Michael has good days ahead of him, but then he'll want to sleep more often, maybe seem confused, see or hear things that aren't there. That's when you know he has just a few days left. Now, there's a very good children's hospital in Wales.
Wendy exits as Dr. Atkinson's voice trails behind her. Interior nursery, night. Wendy taps on the door. It cracks open. The night lights are on, and Wendy sees Michael playing with his stuffed toys.
Can you hear them talking downstairs?
Michael ignores Wendy. The crocodile toy ravages a bear.
Shouldn't you be resting?
I'm just playing.
Michael lifts the teddy up to Wendy.
Does Teddy smell like Neverland?
I don't know.
Michael tosses the bear across the room.
Nobody seems to remember Neverland.
I think you need to rest.
You're a spoil sport. Just like the other grown-ups in this house.
Wendy's stung. She exits for a moment as Michael continues to play. Wendy returns with her blanket.
We'll wait for Peter together.
We will?
If you get in bed.
Michael eagerly jumps into bed. Wendy sits beside him.
I wish I could go to Neverland again, and maybe my memories from before would come back.
Michael hugs Wendy tightly, and she looks around the nursery.
When we were there in Neverland, we forgot all about Mummy.
I know. Neverland makes you forget.
It does. But that's not all.
Do you think Mommy forgot us?
No, never. Go to sleep. I'll wake you up when Peter comes.
Interior nursery, night. Wendy sits wrapped in her blanket at the window seat while Michael is sound asleep in his bed. Wendy fights sleep with every nod, jerking back awake.
Peter, come back to me.
Wendy flips the latch to the window, unlocked, and curls on the window seat, her eyelids fluttering shut.
Wendy!
Interior nursery, day. Wendy jolts awake and the window is wide open. Michael's still in bed, shivering. LIZA rushes over and shuts the window, flipping the latch locked.
Oh, what would have happened if you'd rolled over in your sleep, huh? Oh, fallen out of that window. Break your neck. I can't even think about it.
Michael stirs awake and looks at Wendy.
Did he come?
Perhaps he's ill?
Perhaps he's forgotten you.
Michael's head drops and Wendy is pulled up by LIZA.
Enough. Get up, both of you. I don't want your mother knowing about this.
Wendy grabs her blanket, walking out of the room, looking back to see Michael pulling the blanket over his head.
Now, let's get you some breakfast, huh? It'll keep you strong as a horse.
Interior dining room, day. Wendy picks at her food, frowning, lost in thought. Mrs. Darling, Mr. Darling, John and Michael eat as though it's a normal day.
Wendy, eat.
Wendy snaps to and looks at Michael, who chews his sausage with his mouth open.
Michael, mouth closed.
Michael sticks his tongue out at his father, food falling out. He covers his mouth with a laugh. Mr. Darling slams his fist on the table.
Go back to your room.
Darling, he was just playing.
Now! And fix your crying.
Michael, chin trembling, runs upstairs. After a moment, Mr. Darling grabs his napkin and covers his face, choking back sobs. Mrs. Darling holds steadily to his hand. John and Wendy stare at their father, struck.
Leave.
John abruptly gets up, exiting toward the stairs, and Wendy exits the table toward the front door. Exterior Kensington Gardens, day. Wendy marches into the garden, straight toward the weeping willow. Wendy tucks inside the tree, hiding behind the bowing branches, wiping away tears and hugging her knees. Wendy hears gasps from twin girls and sees them inspecting the ground. The twin in blue cradles something in her hands.
Is she dead?
Don't say dead.
Wendy crawls out from the tree and approaches the twins.
Is everything all right? The fairy fell from the sky. Look.
The twin in blue slowly opens her cupped hands. They're empty. Wendy's eyes widen.
Grown-ups can't see fairies.
She's dead.
Don't say dead.
Wendy stands up and notices the twin in pink wearing her thimble on her little thumb. Wendy grabs the thimble from the twin's hand, wrestling with her for a moment.
Give it! That's mine! It's mine! I found it! It's mine! Mama, she took it!
The twins' mother looks up from her reading and Wendy runs off, exiting. Interior Darling House, family room, day. Wendy walks in through the front door and notices suitcases laid out. LIZA walks in carrying a couple more.
What's this for?
Packing for Wales. They say there's a good hospital there.
We can't go to Wales. Peter won't know where to find us.
Wendy.
Wendy rushes past LIZA.
Mommy!
Interior stairs, day.
Mommy!
John rushes down the stairs to meet Wendy.
Shh. Michael's resting.
I need to talk to Mommy. We can't take Michael to Wales.
It's not your choice. It could help him.
But it won't save him.
Nothing can save him. You understand that, don't you?
Neverland can.
Neverland? You mad? You weren't actually waiting for Peter Pan?
He said he'd come back.
This is why you're being sent to finishing school. You're stunted.
You don't believe me?
Did he come back?
Perhaps Perhaps he was ill.
Perhaps there's no such person.
There is, and you know it.
I know there is no Peter, and no Neverland, and no—
Don't say it! Whenever a child says, I don't believe in fairies, there's a little fairy somewhere that falls down right... Sorry. Sorry.
You tell him. Yeah.
Okay. There's a little fairy somewhere that falls down right down.
Almost.
It's like so close!
He says it.
Take 3.
Okay. Here we go.
Lead her into it, would you, Bradley?
Thank you.
Yes. I know there is no Peter, no Neverland, and no—
Don't say it! Whenever a child says, I don't believe in fairies, there's a little fairy somewhere that falls right down dead.
I don't believe in fairies. And neither does Michael. He told me.
He would never say that.
He wouldn't to you. Just like Mommy and Father haven't told you about going to school. Everyone tiptoes around like you're the baby when you're the eldest. It's embarrassing. Grow up, Wendy.
John continues walking past Wendy.
Don't you remember it?
Do you? Answer honestly.
I remember parts. Some of it has slipped away. But you remember everything, don't you? You remember what hand the hook is on, the 2 moons, Peter, the Lost Boys.
I was a child. I saw things that weren't there all the time.
Interior nursery day. Wendy peeks into the room to Mrs. Darling singing as Michael rests in bed.
Hoven, hoven, Gorio go, Gorio go, Gorio go. Hoven, hoven, Gorio go, I've lost my darling baby, oh.
Wendy retreats, exits, leaving them be. Michael sits up and Mrs. Darling wipes away her boy's tears.
I hate that Father yells.
I know, my darling. But can I tell you a secret about Father?
Michael nods.
He's the bravest man in all of England.
Does he even know how to hold a rifle?
I know it's hard to see by looking at him, but when you and Wendy and John came along, he packed away all his dreams in a drawer.
Why did he do that?
So you children could be free to be children and not worry about grown-up things like hunger. And at night sometimes, he opens the drawer and looks at all his dreams he packed away. But no matter how difficult, he always shuts the drawer. And only the bravest man can do that.
Exterior Darling House day. Wendy sits on her front stoop, frustrated, sighing, and people-watching. She watches children in uniform walking in lines led by a nun. A lanky chimney-sweep man and a soot-faced child sweep climb down from a roof. Wendy places her face in her hands for a moment when she hears a small cough. Wendy looks up and sees the child sweep holding up a folded piece of paper. Wendy takes it and opens it up. Will you be my sweetheart?
Is this from you?
Child sweep shakes his head and points across the street. Gary stands there and waves. Exterior street day. Wendy stomps over to Gary with a note in hand.
No. That's my answer.
Gary's smile falls and he grabs the note, dejected.
You're a perfectly nice boy, man, and I would consider you if...
If it weren't for Peter.
No. Yes. I don't know. I know how to climb a tree in a dress and dig in dirt and fight pirates and fly. I don't know how to be a wife and keep my brother.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry to hear about Michael.
Wendy nods. Gary and Wendy look at each other. Is there more to say? Then baby laughter pulls Wendy's attention away.
Is there any hope for Michael?
Wendy's not listening. She spots a pram sitting alone across the street. Baby laughter pouring out of it like music. Wendy leaves Gary behind and quickly runs to the pram and sees a baby, 8 months, bursting into giggles upon seeing her face. The laughter is contagious. Wendy giggles too.
What are you doing here?
She's mine. I'm right here.
Wendy turns to see a young mother, 18, holding a crocheted elephant, jogging towards them.
Little Ruby's rattle flew so far I could swear it had wings.
Baby Ruby giggles again, looking up at the trees. Young mother looks up, seeing the leaves rustle.
What's that you see there?
When the first baby laughed for the first time, the laugh broke into 1,000 pieces and they all went skipping about. And that was the beginning of fairies.
Is that what you see? Fairies?
And as there are always new babies, there are always new fairies.
Do you have children?
No.
You'll make an enchanting mother when you do.
The wind blows and a skeleton leaf slaps onto Wendy's dress. She plucks it off, waiting for the wind to settle. Little Ruby laughs, waving her hands for the leaf. Wendy offers it to her and her breath catches with a thought.
Are you the Darling girl? I live 3 doors down, in 17.
I am. Wendy.
I've been meaning to invite your parents for dinner sometime.
Wendy notices the skeleton leaf still in her hand, and she takes a sharp breath in with a thought. Wendy flashes a large smile to young mother.
How about dinner tonight?
Interior Darling house, kitchen, night. Wendy's digging deep within cupboards, finding a few nested tin canisters, studying them.
Wendy?
Wendy looks up to see her mother standing there, dressed in a coat and gloves. Interior foyer, night. Wendy follows Mrs. Darling to the door where Mr. Darling and John are ready to leave.
Watch over Michael, will you? No horseplay.
Yes, Papa.
I mean it.
Of course. Mummy, have you said goodbye to Michael?
Oh.
Mrs. Darling rushes up the stairs.
It'll just be an hour. You had to say something, Throwing out invitations willy-nilly the night before we travel. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Wendy frowns as her father and John shake their heads.
You worry your mother needlessly.
Mother loves us.
I love my children just the same.
You do?
You're always angry with us.
Everyone I love angers me.
Mrs. Darling enters again and takes her husband's hand.
Be my eyes and guard my baby boy.
Of course, Mummy.
Mrs. Darling, Mr. Darling, and John exit out the front door. Wendy waits for a moment, takes in a deep breath, and smiles, running out of the room. Interior nursery, night. A warm light shines on Michael's face while he sleeps. He frowns and opens his eyes. He sees Wendy placing a tin can on top of the dresser.
Wendy?
Surrounding Wendy and decorated all over the room are old kettles, cans, flower tins.
What are you doing?
Wendy gets up and unlocks the window.
Do you remember Tinkerbell?
I don't want to play, Wendy.
Do you remember how she got her name?
Wendy grabs the kettle and taps her finger against it. Tink, 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 tink.
Tink, tink, tink. Fairies, men, kettles, and tins.
Wendy turns the kettle to reveal the dent.
It's broken. They're all broken?
We don't need Peter to get to Neverland. Only pixie dust. I know the way there. Do you want to go to Neverland with me instead of Wales?
Yes. You think I can fly?
I don't know. You must believe in fairies. Truly and loudly believe.
I do! I believe in fairies!
Suddenly, the window gusts open. Snowflakes fall softly into the room, and a moment later, skeleton leaves follow. Wendy and Michael, still as snow, wait. Finally, a bright ball of light buzzes into the room like a large lightning bug and disappears into the kettle in Wendy's hands. A moment of silence. Then, tink, tink, tink comes from the kettle. Michael's jaw drops. Wendy carefully removes the kettle's lid and sees a fairy, MAIMIE, who immediately looks up.
Oh, you're not Tinkerbell.
Who is it?
What's your name, little fairy? Little?
How many fairies have you seen? I'm the tallest fairy I know.
Mamie stands up, the top of her head nearly touching the top of the kettle.
Oh, you are tall for a fairy.
What else would I be tall for? A bug? Fairies are not bugs.
Michael slowly peers into the kettle. Mamie gasps, clasping her chest.
Oh, dear God. You can't just sneak up on a fairy like that. I could have died.
You're the fairy who was hiding in that tree. Where's Tinkerbell?
Who's Tinkerbell?
Peter's fairy.
Peter? You mean Peter Pan?
Yes!
Oh, I heard his fairy died.
Oh my God.
Well, she wasn't lovelier than me, was she? I heard she was.
I think you're very beautiful.
I knew it. Rumors. Nobody speaks ill of the dead, do they? And being Peter's fairy, everyone just assumes she must have been a beauty.
Did you make those extra dents?
Wendy looks to see the kettle's now extremely dented.
Perhaps I'm not so good at mending.
Well, what's your purpose if you can't mend metal?
Ugh, you two, huh? Don't mock my misfortunes. I'm working on it.
My father says Whoa. Not misfortunes. My father says misfortunes are often opportunity in disguise.
That's easy to say when you're not the laughing stock of all fairies.
Peter didn't tell me about Tinkerbell.
When did you see Peter?
Just the other night.
Mamie lights up and shoots out of the kettle and out the window. Wendy runs to the window.
Wait, come back!
A moment later, the light buzzes back into the room and lands on Michael's bedpost. Mamie stands, foot tapping, hands on her hips.
Yes.
What's your name?
MAIMIE.
Will you give us pixie dust?
Why would you want that?
To fly! To go to Neverland!
And Peter Pan's there?
Yes! He would have come for me eventually, but he's forgetful and we can't wait for him. We have to leave tonight.
And what if I don't know the way to Neverland?
You're a fairy that's never been to Neverland and can't mend kettles?
I know the way to Neverland.
And you'll introduce me to Peter?
Of course.
Yee! And I'll be his new fairy?
The front door slams shut. Muted voices of Mr. and Mrs. Darling downstairs. Wendy and Michael exchange glances.
If Tinkerbell is really
dead,
then he'll need a new fairy.
And then what will it matter if I can't fix kettles? I never heard of Tinkerbell mending anything.
So, you'll help us? Right now?
Mamie flies over Wendy and Michael. Pixie dust rains down on the two mortals. Mamie flutters by the window.
Chop chop, let's go.
Michael floats up above the floor. Wendy squeezes her eyes shut and nothing. Footsteps approach the doorway.
Do you have no happy thoughts? Are you too old?
I'm not old. I just need a moment.
All you need is one.
Wendy squeezes her eyes shut. Montage, old memories. Wendy's memories flash. Her kissing Peter. Michael flashing chewed up food in his mouth. Hugging her mother before she left. Her father smiling at her. Michael's eyes lighting up when he looked in the kettle. Back to interior nursery, night. Wendy opens her eyes and she's floating off the ground. Michael looks back at her, smiling.
You leading the way, human girl?
Wendy.
That's your name?
Wendy Moira Angela Darling.
Oh, my. Well, lead the way, Wendy Mar Anger Dingaling.
Wendy floats over to the window and looks up at the sky, spotting two bright stars just right of the moon.
Second star to the right.
The nursery door opens. Wendy, Michael, and Mamie look. It's only John.
What's going on here?
Sprinkle him with pixie dust, too.
That old man?
Wendy.
Mamie flies over John, raining down pixie dust over him. He keeps his eyes fixed on Wendy, frowning and furious. Michael grabs John's top hat from the toy chest and plops it on his brother's head.
Come with us, John. All you need is one happy thought.
You know I can't.
Michael wraps his arms around John in a hug.
I'm gonna miss you, John.
Michael, stop!
When you think of us fighting pirates with Tiger Lily and playing with lost boys. Tell Mommy I'm off to a great adventure.
Michael lets go of John and flies out the window. followed by Wendy and MAIMIE, who disappear into the night. John's left alone, and he shuts the window, locking the latch. After a few steps, John stops, sighs, turns around and unlatches the lock from the window. Exterior London sky, night. Wendy flies ahead of Michael and MAIMIE, over Big Ben, glimpsing down at the city streets before looking up to the stars and flying straight towards two bright stars sitting right of the moon. As they fly closer, the bright stars illuminate so great, Wendy's forced to shut her eyes. Cut to black. End of episode 1.
Hey. All right, so those of you who are with us for the first time, you see how this goes.
Hello, MAIMIE present. Soon to be Peter Pan's new fairy. Now, where did we leave off? Oh yes, Wendy. On the eve of her 16th birthday, the Wendy human gets a dire warning from the great Peter Pan. Or does she? It's been years since her last visit to Neverland, and her looming adulthood makes her question her memories. When Wendy's smallest brother, Michael, gets a terminal diagnosis from a doctor, Wendy is determined to take him to Neverland to save him. This is where I come in. Wendy lures me, a beautiful fairy, much better than Tinkerbell, into Michael's nursery to sprinkle them with fairy dust and leave London behind.
Okay, Dennis, now it's all you.
Slay.
Slay?
Yeah. I like you.
I mean, I can't see why you wouldn't.
You're right.
Episode 2. Exterior, Neverland, day. POV of Wendy's eyes opening and making out a baby blue sky and the face of a young man in tattered clothes, Juke, 17, looking down at her. Wendy sits up with a gasp. She notices she's in the Lost Boys' lair, but it's quiet, empty and ravaged. Cracked doorways, household belongings scattered about, broken bowls, mugs, and red X's painted on the doors. Wendy slowly stands up and looks around.
Where are all the Lost Boys?
Jukes reaches to touch her hair.
Yeah, hands off! Didn't your father teach you how to be a gentleman?
Are you an angel? You fell right from the sky.
I fell? Where's Michael? Michael? Michael! Michael!
Jukes covers Wendy's mouth with his hand and tucks behind a tree. Wendy tries screaming.
Shh, shh. They're coming.
Wendy quiets. After a moment, a small group of pirates passes by, and Wendy's eyes widen at the sight of them. After the pirates have gone, Jukes releases Wendy.
I didn't hurt you, did I?
Wendy shakes her head no. Jukes smiles. He's quite handsome. Wendy looks around again, eerie silence.
Are you one of the Lost Boys?
Jukes! Jukes!
Jukes! I'm right here. If you see a lost boy, hold on to him for me, will you? I'll be right back. Don't move.
Jukes winks at Wendy before running off to join the pirates and disappearing out of sight. An acorn falls on Wendy's head. Wendy looks up and sees an old treehouse perched on a sturdy branch high above her. Rectangles of wood lead the way up as a ladder.
Michael? Would you stop crowing, girl, and get up here before the pirates come back and kills you?
Wendy begins climbing up the ladder. Step, 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 crack. Wendy slips, hanging on by just one hand, and gasps loud. Wendy regains her footing and continues climbing, up so high now she can see nearly all of Neverland. A town of pirate ships encompass the water. The Mermaid's Lagoon is dark. The Indian camp has collapsed teepees. MAIMIE appears in front of Wendy, startling her.
Where's Peter,
I don't know. Something's wrong.
Yeah, that's quite obvious. Thank you for that.
Wendy!
Wendy looks and sees Michael inside the treehouse. Interior treehouse, day. Wendy and MAIMIE enter the treehouse and shut the door. Michael rushes to give Wendy a hug.
What's happened to Neverland?
I don't know. But we have to find Peter.
Exterior Neverland, night. 2 moons rise up as the sun sets on Neverland. The sky flashes a brilliant pink before melting into the dark blue of night. Windows of the pirate ships on the water glow. A light of fire materializes in the woods near the lagoon. Interior treehouse, night. Wendy, Michael, and MAIMIE peer out the window, the fire in the distance reflecting in their eyes.
Could be Tiger Lily.
Could be Peter.
Could be the Lost Boys.
Let's go and find out.
Could be pirates.
Pirates are old, and old people sleep all night because they can't see in the dark.
She's right, Wendy.
Wendy shakes her head, unsatisfied.
I suppose we'll just live in this dusty treehouse forever.
Okay, but be careful, understood? Never leave my side.
Michael nods in agreement and opens the door slowly. MAIMIE buzzes out of the treehouse. Michael looks at Wendy and flashes her the biggest smile.
Why are you smiling?
It's been an awful long time since we've been on an adventure.
Michael exits, climbing down the ladder. Exterior Lost Boys' lair, night. Wendy and Michael step onto the ground. MAIMIE glows, lighting the way like a torch. They walk gingerly through the lair built in the middle of a heavily forested area. Wendy and Michael clutch hands as they delicately dodge household items littering the walkway through the woods.
What is this pigsty?
Was the Lost Boys' lair.
Crack. Wendy and Michael freeze. MAIMIE dims.
Who's there?
Silence.
Come out and show yourself.
Slowly, a figure emerges holding 2 axes.
Get back! Who are you? Leave or I'll attack.
A boy comes rushing at them wielding 2 axes. MAIMIE emits a blinding light from her body, forcing the boy to freeze and protect his eyes. As the light dims, Michael sees
Curly!
Curly, age 6, with wild curly hair, a slight figure and mud coating his face and hands.
It's us, Wendy and Michael.
I don't know you.
We were here a few years ago.
Wendy reaches for him and Curly yelps out in rage.
Ah! Stay back! Or else!
Wendy, Michael, and MAIMIE exchange looks, and Wendy kneels down to be the same height as Curly.
I used to sing you to sleep, remember? We're friends.
I'm friends with no grown-ups. Now get away from me.
I'm no grown-up.
Let's leave this wild child.
But he's all alone.
Hoven, hoven, gordioko, gordioko, gordioko. Hoven, hoven, gordioko. I've lost my darling baby-o.
Slowly, Curly lowers his weapons, dropping them at his side, and crumbles into sobs. Wendy rushes to him, hugging him, and he falls into her as he cries.
Curly.
Curly pulls away from Wendy, looking at her, wiping his tears from his cheeks.
Where's Peter?
Curly slumps his head, quiet. Wendy, Michael, and MAIMIE exchange looks.
What's happened here?
Curly looks up and slowly curls one finger into a hook. MAIMIE's light casts a shadow, and Wendy and Michael look over to the giant hook on the wall of a deserted Lost Boy home. Interior Lost Boys' lair, night. Curly sits huddled in the corner of the room when Wendy approaches him with Michael and MAIMIE holding a cup of tea.
How long has it been like this?
Since Hook came back.
Curly takes a loud sip. MAIMIE taps Wendy's shoulder.
I came here with the promise of a glamorous life as Peter's fairy. Where is Peter in this pirate-infested wasteland,
Peter will come back and rescue me.
Wendy, Michael, and MAIMIE exchange glances.
Where did Peter go?
Maybe to fix the crocodile. Peter came back from London with metal bits, and us Lost Boys fixed up the crocodile to hunt the pirates, but it could use some work.
What about the warriors?
All captured or killed. Except for the princess. Pirates keep looking for her, but I've heard she's gone mad.
The Princess Tiger Lily?
Tiger Lily could call Peter.
We can't go into the woods. It's covered in pirate traps.
Well, what about the mermaids?
I don't trust mermaids.
Mamie tilts her head to be followed. Wendy and Michael accompany her to the far corner of the room.
I don't want to be known as the fairy who got 2 mortals killed. I'll get shunned. I'm already a laughingstock. So, back to London.
What about Curly?
He's a rock in our shoe. It's time to toss him out. We can't go back. If we go back, then Michael will...
Wendy sees Michael look at her with wide eyes.
We find Tiger Lily. She'll call Peter, he'll defeat Hook, and Neverland will be safe again for Michael. I mean, for everyone.
But we can't go for the woods.
We're smarter than those pirates. We'll keep our eyes and minds sharp for pirate traps.
And you've got me.
Mamie twirls, knocking over several teacups from a shelf, clattering onto the floor.
But what about the crocodile? It'll be coming for her.
Who? You said it hunts pirates.
Her, the grown-up. It hunts grown-ups. Pirates are grown-ups. When it's close, you'll hear tick, tock, tick, and it'll be too late to run.
I'm no grown-up. Could a grown-up fly to Neverland?
Curly shrugs. Exterior forest, Indian camp, day. Wendy, Michael, Curly, and Mamie make their way through a heavy forest. Curly drags his feet behind the group as they enter the warrior camp, walking through tall wooden posts, circling the camp like a fence. A few teepees are collapsed, but smoke is rising up from an extinguished campfire. Curly is shaking and muttering.
What if Peter comes back and I'm not there? And then he forgets me.
Wait.
Drip, drip, drip. Black goo hits Wendy's arm. She touches it. Michael, Mamie, Curly, and Wendy all look up and see severed heads on top of the posts.
Ugh.
Michael opens his mouth to scream, but Wendy slaps her hand over it. Curly's face is twisted in horror. A shadow of a person moves inside a teepee.
Peter?
Did you say Peter?
Curly tucks behind a fallen log, pulling Wendy and Michael down next to him. Starbuck and Tully emerge from the teepee. Mamie quickly hides behind a tipped-over tin mug by the campfire. The pirates look around, shrug, and return to the teepee. Mamie swiftly flies to the opening of the teepee.
No! Mamie!
Wendy hears rustling deep in the forest behind them. She looks. Nothing seems to be moving. Wendy nods toward the forest, instructing Michael and Curly to follow her.
Those pirates are going to kill your fairy.
We can't leave Mamie.
Michael moves toward the teepees and Wendy grabs his arm.
You promised me to stay close, remember? Mamie will catch up.
Interior teepee, day. Mamie sneaks into the teepee, which looks much larger inside, housing a bed, a desk, and a kitchenette. Starbuck and Tully stumble and slump into chairs, rubbing their eyes and taking a swig of brandy, still waking up.
I swear I heard a voice, a lass, a voice of an angel. Tiger Lily?
Ah, in your dreams you did.
Maybe it'd been a bird.
Ah, I forgot how stupid you be. You think a bird talks, eh?
I'm so happy.
The pirates continue to bicker as Mamie scans the teepee, spotting something down below, and makes a beeline for it. Exterior forest, day. Wendy, Michael, and Curly wait nervously. Rustle, rustle catches Wendy's ear, and she searches for movement.
Someone or something's here.
Wendy takes a few cautious steps deeper into the forest. Michael and Curly follow her.
It's pirates.
What if it's Peter?
We should go back.
Michael picks up a stick and takes a few bold steps ahead.
Michael, stay close.
Ha! Look at these fools. These are horrible traps.
Michael tosses his stick and zoop! A rope closes in and snatches the stick up like a flying snake. Shh! Wendy and Michael silence themselves. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock.
It's coming for you.
Don't say that.
Wendy? Are you gonna be okay?
Nothing bad is gonna happen.
Suddenly, zoop! A rope closes in around Michael's ankles, and he flies upside down above the trees. Wendy and Curly spin around, and Michael's nowhere to be seen.
Michael? Michael! Michael!
Quiet!
Zoop! Curly's legs zip up with the rope. And he's hijacked into the sky as he screams.
I kind of choked when I said so it sounded very difficult. Let's redo that. Just run it back a little bit.
Yes, sir. I'll start again. Zip! Curly's legs zip up with rope, and he's hijacked into the sky as he screams. Wendy tries to chase and grab him, but she's too late. She stands still among the trees, and a few fallen leaves dance down and land at her feet. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Wendy holds her breath. A crocodile emerges violently from behind a wall of leaves. Large, half mechanical and half green flesh with two glowing green clocks for eyes. The hands ticking. Wendy squeezes her eyes shut as the crocodile walks right up to her. It takes several whirling sniffs in, puffs steam breath onto her before continuing on. Wendy opens her eyes as the tick-tock becomes faint. Wendy exhales with a smile, alone again. She scans the forest floor before spotting a conspicuous arrangement of leaves. Wendy peers up at the dense ceiling of the forest when she hears muffled pirate voices. Wendy quick spots another pile of leaves, spots a rope. Wendy grabs the rope, yanking. Zip! She is pulled overhead. Exterior treetops day. Wendy flies, holding onto the rope, zipping up and up and up toward the treetops. The pins of her hairdo unfasten as she reaches the top. Underneath the canopy, she faces an upside-down Michael and Curly.
Did the crocodile come for you?
It walked right by me.
You look too big to be a kid to me.
Jenna says she's stunted. Are pirates gonna get us?
Not if we cut ourselves loose. Next time you do as I say, understood?
Curly pulls out one of his axes and hands it to Wendy.
Excellent.
How is MAIMIE gonna find us now?
We should go back to the lair and wait for Peter.
Wendy swings and swings to a tree trunk, reaching for a vine, misses, swings again, and grabs hold of the vine, letting go of the rope.
Michael, swing over to me.
Michael flings his body back and forth until he's swinging. He reaches, and grabs hold of Wendy's hand. She quickly cuts Michael loose. Wendy waves Curly over. Curly swings, reaching for Wendy's extended hand. He swings back far, disappearing behind a thick wall of leaves on the other side. Wendy and Michael spring up and look at each other.
Curly?
After a moment, the rope swings back without Curly.
Curly!
Michael reaches and grabs hold of the rope.
Michael, you have to think, understood? You can't just be running off and chasing without a thought. It's a trap.
Michael's silent for a moment and shrugs.
So maybe it's a trap. What else are we gonna do?
Wendy nods and holds onto the rope as well.
1, 2.
Wait, let's...
Michael pushes them off the vine. They swing across straight through the wall of leaves. An empty rope returns. Interior teepee day. MAIMIE pulls a folded piece of paper out of a trash bin and flops it open on the desk. Peter Pan's face stares back from a wanted poster that reads, Peter Pan for 500 gold coins.
Oh, hello. Aren't you the most beautiful and tall and graceful fairy Neverland has ever seen? You must be my fairy.
Starbuck and Tully are playing a card game, War. An ace and a king are put down. Neither move to take the cards.
Ha! Me ace beats your king.
King beats ace.
Don't cheat just 'cause ye be losing.
Who be ye calling a cheater? Huh?
I be. Ye be a cheater.
Oh.
Just scared.
Starbuck stands up, knocking over the table and the cards with it.
No.
Tully throws his hand up and starts picking up the cards from the ground. MAIMIE carefully folds the wanted poster as the pirates argue and fight each other. As Tully's tackled by Starbuck, they both spot MAIMIE holding the folded-up poster.
Be a bug?
Hello, rude pirate. I'm Peter Pan's new fairy. I see he's not here in this fine tent, so I'll leave you two to your sad life here.
What do you reckon, Tully? I bet Hook would let us, farts.
This is not a fox.
What do you reckon, Tully? I bet Hook would let us back on the ship if we brought in Peter's fairy.
I reckon you're not stupid at all.
The pirates lunge for MAIMIE. She zips up high, but gets caught in a kettle held by Starbuck. The kettle shakes and bubbles with dents and craters until Starbuck drops it. MAIMIE bursts out of the kettle, laughing at the pirates flying backwards. Tully and Starbuck scramble as MAIMIE runs into a chair, pictures, cups, until she finally gets pulled to the ground by a net. Tully leers at MAIMIE as he holds up the other end of a butterfly catcher.
I got you, Peter's fairy.
Exterior treetops, branch maze, day. Wendy and Michael stand on a thick branch surrounded by a wall of leaves. They're both in awe at the endless maze of branches before them. Wendy looks at Michael, raises her finger to her lips with a silent shh. Michael nods. Up ahead, the leaves start to rustle, rolling like an incoming wave. It's something moving across the branches, approaching closer to Wendy and Michael. Closer and closer.
Run?
Wendy shakes her head no. As the rolling leaves charge towards them, Wendy steps in front of Michael and squeezes her eyes shut. Silence. Wendy opens her eyes and sees an arrowhead inches away. Wendy focuses on the blade for a moment before moving down the line of the arrow and seeing Tiger Lily, a 15-year-old indigenous girl adorned with a necklace of ears and wearing armor wielding the bow and arrow.
Who are you?
Tiger Lily? Is that you?
How'd you get here?
Tiger Lily leaps down and lands on the branch level with Wendy and Michael.
We're looking for Peter.
There is no Peter here. And you wasted 5 of my traps.
Those were your traps?
Zoop, zoop. Tiger Lily takes off swiftly down the branch and leaping onto a nearby tree. Wendy and Michael follow her and freeze when behind a curtain of leaves they see Tiger Lily reach 2 pirates hung upside down. She cuts them down and they fall screaming until they're silenced with a crunch. Tiger Lily emerges through the leaves facing Wendy and Michael again.
You killed them! How could you?
Me? You think I'm cruel for showing no mercy when they're after me?
We can't kill. Even pirates.
And why's that?
Because only monsters would take away a life.
If that's what it takes to stay alive, then I'm a monster.
Tiger Lily continues walking.
Help us call Peter.
Do I look helpful?
It would help you too.
How blind are you? I'm in a tree. All my things have been destroyed by those pirates you want to keep alive, including my flute, which is the only way I could call anyone.
Can we find you another one?
Maybe you can make one.
Will you both stop following me?
What about Peter?
Peter Pan is dead.
Silence. Wendy and Michael freeze. Tiger Lily continues on. She pauses, brief remorse, but then jumps onto a branch and disappears behind the leaves. Michael fishes for Wendy's hand. She grabs it and they stand alone in the vast greenery of the trees. Exterior forest, day. MAIMIE, trapped in a jar, hangs from Starbucks's belt as he runs with Tully across the forest floor. MAIMIE slips and tumbles with the bumps from the run.
Ugh, I hate jars! Hate them!
They break through a wall of trees and stand atop a hill, looking down at the ocean and Pirate Dock Town where a majestic ship is anchored. MAIMIE perks up, looking at the ship.
How much do you think we can get?
10 gold coins?
I won't take less than 20.
Exterior treetops, tree branches, day. POV through leaves, watching Wendy and Michael make their way through the branch maze. Once they're gone, Curly steps out and takes off running in the opposite direction. Curly slips and falls through the leaves down a cylindrical hole made of twisted tree branches, screaming. The branches swoop and turn like a slide as he keeps plummeting. The slide ends in a jump, and Curly is flung into the air, landing abruptly in a makeshift hammock made of vines. An arrow flies, hitting the tree trunk right next to his face. Curly screams.
Hey, I thought all you lost boys were captured by pirates.
You thought wrong. Just like you're wrong about Peter. He's alive.
Tiger Lily turns away and Curly jumps down from the hammock and walks to catch up with her.
Your new friends are looking for Peter too. A girl and a boy?
They're not my friends. And I told them they wouldn't find him here. Peter's gonna be looking for me. At the lair.
There's nothing left there.
There's nothing left at your camp either. It's all burned down.
I know that. That's why I'm leaving Neverland. And you'll have one less monster on this island.
Curly runs a few steps to catch up to Tiger Lily again.
Leaving? How?
Tiger Lily pulls back a branch, revealing a clear view of the dock. Like ants, pirates are lining up to the great ship.
Something's happening. Hook, the pirates, everyone's distracted. It's a sign. See that little boat over there? That dinghy's my ticket off this island.
Curly squints, spotting the small oared boat roped up on the side of the massive pirate ship.
Where are you going?
As long as it's not here, I don't care.
Exterior pirate ship, day. Starbuck hands MAIMIE in a jar to an elder pirate who inspects her. Tully gives Starbuck a thumbs up.
Nah, that's not Peter's fairy. His fairy died. Now be gone, you filthy, desperate dogs. 20 gold coins.
10, we'll take 10.
Elder pirate laughs at the two pirates haggling and places the jar on a windowsill. MAIMIE pushes up against the lid, trying to escape.
Now be gone, you filthy dogs. Out of here before you's killed.
We want to talk to the captain.
And we want back on the ship.
We've been looking for Tiger Lily long enough.
Elder pirate takes his sword and runs it through Starbuck's gut. His eyes bulge and he falls back dead. Tully holds his hand up and runs off the ship.
Oh, I think one of these be the one.
MAIMIE perks up at the man's voice and turns to look through the window of Hook's chambers. Interior pirate ship, Hook's chambers, day. A silver hook taps on the corner of James Hook's 50s, mouth lost in thought. James Hook has well-groomed hair, striking eyes, and is donned in an all-white gentleman's suit of Regency-era England.
Got 'em right outside the Lost Lad's lair.
MAIMIE stretches her neck to get a look at SMEE, 60s, a portly man with an omnipresent smile standing next to two small boys, 6, with sacks over their heads. James Hook approaches the two trembling boys and removes the sacks with his hook. He kneels face to face with the scared boys, examining them.
No. Take them away. And saving the best for last. Nearby these whelps was Peter Pan, said the prig now.
The two boys gasp behind the sacks, and James freezes.
Good form. Peter Pan on my ship. Are you sure it's him? Even flying. I saw with my own eyes it'd be Peter Pan, Captain. Alive and in Neverland.
James Hook paces, tapping, thinking, shaking his head.
No, something isn't right, SMEE. Why was he caught so easily? And why now, when there's nothing left?
What you be saying?
I am saying Peter Pan only gets caught because he wants to be caught, and we've walked right into his trap.
Ah, so we let him go?
Don't be stupid, SMEE!
James Hook takes a final swig of his scotch before grabbing his coat off the coat rack, white and lined with blood-red velvet, swinging it around him.
You know what to do, SMEE.
SMEE's left alone in Hook's chambers with a slam of the heavy wooden door.
Aye, Captain. I'll find out what I need to do, and I'm doing it to Peter Pan.
Exterior pirate ship continues. MAIMIE turns away from the window and does an excited jig. She tries pushing against the lid once more. No budge.
Bloody jar. Ahoy, matey! Captain Hook be on his way to the deck.
Pirates stop working and look around nervously.
Get that there wish-fulfilling fairy off his window.
Jukes picks up the jar and looks at MAIMIE.
I don't know if fairies can make wishes come true.
The beautiful ones do. Well, what would you like, young pirate?
I think I really like a kiss.
I'm a bit small for you, don't you think?
No, not you. From an angel. I saw her fall from the sky this morning.
Granted. Now let me out.
Jukes twists the lid off the jar, and MAIMIE zips up into the sky, leaving behind a trail of pixie dust.
Hey! What about my kiss?
Very sad times.
Much the same.
Interior brig, hull, day. James Hook approaches a lonely metal door with a small grated window. He pauses for a brief moment before peering inside. A shadow of an adolescent boy lays in midair as though he's resting on an invisible hammock, whistling a Neverland tune. James reels back from the window, his eyes darting.
What game are you playing?
Exterior treetops, rocky cliff, day. Wendy and Michael stand on the end of a thick branch where the forest ends and rocky cliffs fall to the ocean below. Wendy looks down. The water splashes violently beneath them.
Okay, on free. Let's jump.
No! We could fall into those rocks.
We can fly.
But we don't have any more pixie dust on us.
Michael slumps. Wendy reaches for Michael and he pulls away from her.
Peter would know what to do.
Well, Peter's not here. He's...
Wendy's quiet for a moment. She shakes her head.
Dead?
Don't say dead. He's alive.
Can we still go back home? I forgot to tell Father goodbye.
Then, rustle, rustle, rustle. Wendy slowly turns to look back into the forest and sees the leaves moving.
There, I hear them.
Wendy slaps a hand over Michael's mouth.
Impossible. How'd they get up here?
Wendy casts her gaze up. Baby blue sky, cumulus clouds, and a large neverbird flapping along.
Look! The Neverbird!
What's a Neverbird?
Michael's eyes widen as the 7-foot pirate surfaces out from the leaves, slow but agile. Wendy points her brother's attention to the Neverbird.
It'll take us to the Mermaid's Lagoon. I bet they would have something that Tiger Lily could play and call Peter.
But Tiger Lily said
if we have a way, she'll try it. Even if she thinks... Hope can't die, even when you think it has.
Wendy whistles. The Neverbird turns its large neck and looks back to Michael and Wendy waving.
Hello, Neverbird!
The Neverbird flies toward Wendy and Michael, and they cheer. The large pirate swings his saber as he makes his way toward Wendy and Michael. Swish, swish, swish. Michael scrambles back and drops off the edge.
Michael!
Wendy looks over the edge. She can't see him, but then hears...
Wendy, jump!
Water crashes violently down far below.
Jump? Where? Where are you?
Just jump!
The 7-foot pirate now inches away, swings at Wendy, and finally she leaps, just missing the saber. Wendy soars through the sky and she laughs with glee, just before she turns down and her smile morphs into a scream. The large Neverbird with Michael on top rolls in front of Wendy like a train catching her. Wendy hugs the neck of the Neverbird tightly.
Wendy, look!
Wendy looks below at the pirate port town and one magnificent ship that carries caged rafts floating on the water. Wendy squints and sees children huddled in the cages.
They're children.
Lost boys?
Can you get closer?
Neverbird shakes her head. No. A bright ball of light appears in front of Wendy and Michael. The Neverbird squawks unpleasantly, repelling from the light. Wendy and Michael struggle to hold on to the bird, and they cover their eyes from the glow. They clutch each other's hands just as the light dims. Wendy and Michael look up and see MAIMIE sitting on Neverbird's head.
MAIMIE! Why are you two on a bird? And where's the wild child?
We lost him.
That child's a feral cat. We should have never taken him in.
Where have you been?
Oh, who, me? Just frolicking around and finding Peter Pan.
Wendy and Michael's eyes widen.
Peter's alive?
Of course he's alive. He's Peter Pan, for crying out loud. He's got a plan, too. I don't know what it is, but he was captured on purpose.
Wendy peers down at the ship beneath her.
He didn't forget us.
Peter Pan doesn't forget. He's an elephant.
We have to help him.
Oh, no. According to the... Oh, no. According to that sinister man with a hook, that won't be necessary.
Captain Hook?
That's the man's actual name? Hook? Is that irony?
We can't leave him with Hook.
Hook is dangerous. We have to think about this. I didn't bring you all the way here just for you to get yourself killed. You do as I say. Understood?
Michael lays down on the Neverbird's back, covering his face. Wendy spots purpled skin underneath his shirt. It's lifted a bit. She pulls it up more to reveal a large bruise covering his ribs and back. Wendy and MAIMIE exchange glances.
Take us to the Mermaid Lagoon.
Neverbird cuts right, swooping down, diving. Wendy holds tight, squeezing her eyes shut. MAIMIE, perched on the bird's head, lifts up both arms, squealing with glee.
Whee!
Exterior Mermaid Lagoon, day. Wendy, Michael, and MAIMIE stand on the rock in the middle of the lagoon, watching the Neverbird fly off, back above the clouds and out of sight.
MAIMIE, I need you to go to the ship and find a way in. And quickly. I want to be ready to move as soon as the sun sets.
Straight away, Miss Wendy.
MAIMIE salutes and zips off, flying away. Michael sits suddenly, collapses, head in his hands. Wendy rushes to his side.
Oh, Michael.
I'm fine. I'm not a baby.
Wendy lifts Michael's shirt to study the bruise.
You're hurt. Must have been from falling on the Neverbird.
That was there from before.
Before when?
Before in London.
Wendy grabs a leaf, twists it to make a cup, and scoops in water from the lagoon. A hand reaches for Wendy out of the water. Wendy falls back, watching a purple tail flick up before dipping back underwater. Mermaid laughter echoes back to Wendy. Wendy carefully fills her cup with water again.
Drink this.
I don't like it.
It's just different. Drink it. It's good for you.
Michael takes another big gulp of water before laying his head down on Wendy's lap and falling fast asleep.
That's part of the script, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I left my baby lying here, lying here, lying here. I left my baby lying here to go and gather blaeberries.
The lagoon water begins to light up with swirls of purples and pinks. Out pop up the heads of several mermaid children, heads and elbows propped up on the rock, listening.
Hoven, hoven, good you go. I never found my baby, oh.
Exterior pirate ship, sunset. MAIMIE, perched on top of the mast, looks down as the pirates march in with several platters of food. They set up a magnificent dinner on a long table on the center of the deck.
I found the wee brown otter's track, the otter's track, the otter's track. I found the wee brown otter's track, but never trace my baby, oh.
MAIMIE flies down to the window of the captain's quarters, where Captain Hook is sipping a glass of brandy, sitting in front of an open wooden case. He looks at several items inside that MAIMIE cannot make out. MAIMIE slips on a bottle cork, slamming into the glass window with a tap. Captain Hook turns to look, but MAIMIE is already tucked away behind the sill. Hook opens the window. The pirates and SMEE straighten up upon seeing their captain.
Everything's swell, Captain.
Yes, carry on.
I'll get you dinner when we're ready.
Keep it covered. I want it hot.
Pirates quickly place lids on the serving plates. Exterior treetop, tree branches, sunset. Tiger Lily sits with Curly around a campfire. Tiger Lily carves a cylindrical piece of wood. She blows on it. It makes a tune and continues to work.
What if you get lost at sea? Where would you go?
Tiger Lily stops sharpening.
Tons of places. There'd be a map on that pirate ship.
They both turn their heads as a voice echoes through the thick leaves.
Hove and God, you'll go. I've lost my darling baby, oh.
I like that song. Oh, it's that song. The Wendy sung it to me like my mom used to.
You don't remember your mom?
Not what she looks like or anything, but I remember that song. Like that moon. It's the same one I saw before Neverland. I remember.
Exterior pirate ship, sunset. MAIMIE flies around the pirate ship, dodging pirates as they swat at her and carry platters of food from the dock. MAIMIE reaches the back of the ship where she lands on one of the raft cages full of children, boys and girls. The children don't seem to notice her, just staring off into space.
Psst. Hello, boy child.
Patches, 8, looks up.
Are you a lost boy? I need to know where they're keeping Peter Pan.
Patches shrugs. MAIMIE rolls her eyes and flies inside the raft cage and tugs on the child's ear.
Human, how do you get to the brig?
Deep inside the hole. Hook keeps the key. Is that why Peter hasn't come to rescue us?
Have faith and chin up, boy. You'll have your Peter back in no time.
Patches pulls his hat over his eyes as he puts his head down on his arms and knees. MAIMIE looks at him and the other sad children. She frowns before flying off. Interior pirate ship captain's quarters, night. Captain Hook gives one last look out his window and begins to retreat when he hears a faint voice.
Found the trail of the mountain mist, the mountain mist, the mountain mist. I found the trail of the mountain mist, but never a trace of my baby, oh.
James Hook clenches his heart and his knees buckle. SMEE enters and sees his captain half collapse and quickly runs to him, pulling him away from the window and shutting it.
You hear that singing, SMEE? I thought it'd be nice. I knew you hated it. I would have shot it. I can still shoot it.
No, that would be bad form. It's just that voice. It breaks my heart.
Oh, and that be good, sir?
It invigorates me. I think this is a good night for an adventure. A good night to kill Peter Pan.
Exterior Mermaid Lagoon, night. Wendy, with Michael still on her lap, finishes her lullaby, stroking his hair. A bright ball comes careening toward Wendy.
MAIMIE, did you find Peter? Of course. He's deep inside the hull and Hook keeps the key. Does he need to be back home or something? He does not look good.
Wendy looks down at Michael. He's sweating large beads.
He'll be fine once I rescue Peter.
Wendy wipes Michael's forehead with the bottom of her skirt. His eyes flutter awake and he looks up at MAIMIE and Wendy's eyes watching him with concern.
Where am I?
The Mermaid Lagoon. In Neverland.
I was worried I'd wake up in the hospital in Wales.
We know where Peter is. I'm going to get him out and Neverland will be safe again.
Aren't you a little large for stealthy sneaking? Michael and I can sneak around easy.
Michael stands up and beams.
Absolutely not. It's going to be me and only me. You two stay here.
Why? Because you think I'm a baby?
I'm keeping you safe.
This isn't an adventure for me. It's all for you. Why did you bring me here if I'm just ruining your fun?
That's not true.
It is. You trust me so little. You'd rather face pirates alone, even though you're too big and grown up to sneak past them.
I'm not grown up. Fine. You can come, but only for lookout, understood?
Michael nods, angry but satisfied.
And how are you gonna sneak past the ship full of pirates?
Wendy pulls out a small bronze tin from her pocket and opens it up. Pink wax. She dips her fingers into it slightly, dabbing it delicately on her lips.
I have a plan.
Exterior docks, pirate ship, night. Two pirates chat by the ramp. Behind them, a figure leaps gracefully off the dock onto the side of the ship. Another smaller figure jumps, barely making it, grunting, reaching. The pirates turn to look just as he disappears to the back. Tiger Lily waits as Curly struggles to scale toward her.
Don't get me caught.
Tiger Lily pulls herself up to the window of the captain's quarters. It's empty.
All clear. I'll find the map. You stay here and keep watch.
Then you help me get back to the lair.
Just worry about your part. I'm good for mine.
Curly spots the rafts floating at the back of the ship. He leans back for a better view and sees cages of lost boys. Curly's jaw drops into a smile.
Pockets. No nap. Latches.
Shh. Tiger Lily looks and sees the cages behind the ship.
Curly? Is that you?
I'm coming.
Tiger Lily grabs Curly by the collar. He's hanging off the edge of the ship.
What do you think you're doing?
Free them. They can help.
I'm not here on a rescue mission. Understood?
Tiger Lily swings Curly back onto the ship and he clings onto the side, trembling. Exterior pirate ship deck, night. A few pirates play a sea shanty as dinner's well underway. James Hook sits at the head of the table, sipping brandy, his plate untouched. On the dock, Michael and MAIMIE hide behind barrels. Wendy nods to them before taking a deep breath and boldly sauntering up the ramp right onto the deck of the ship. Wendy spots Jukes, the young pirate she met upon arrival, and eyes him with a nervous swallow. She presses her lips together, evenly spreading the pink wax. Slowly, all the pirates notice her. They stop eating, stop conversing, and stop playing their instruments.
Ugh, this was a stupid plan.
Jukes beams seeing Wendy and confidently walks over to her, reaching out his hand.
It's you. The angel. Did the fairy bring you here?
How did you know?
Give him a kiss.
Wendy looks at MAIMIE, confused as Jukes leads her into the crowd of pirates. James Hook cranes his neck from the far end of the table.
SMEE, who is that?
Looks like a lass.
Well, I see that. How did she get here?
She must be an angel?
Oh, don't be stupid, SMEE.
Oh, you think she'd be that one singing that there song?
She's the angel that fell from the sky. Play her something.
Pirates snap to and begin playing music. Jukes stands beside Wendy nervously.
Do you dance?
No, not well.
Jukes takes Wendy's hand and spins her around. They dance with the pirates surrounding them.
Take a look around, will you? Make sure nothing is amiss, and the prisoner is still where we left him.
Aye, aye, Captain.
SMEE gets up and heads toward the back of the ship. Pirates tap their heels and clap along to Wendy and Jukes' dance before getting up and joining in. James Hook cocks his head, but is unable to see around the crowd. MAIMIE and Michael grimace.
It's working. Her plan's working.
Why is it working?
Grown men are stupid, that's why.
We're not really going to hide here all night, are we?
Well, I don't know. That pirate lover sister of yours says we were to keep lookout. Nothing more.
What's there to look out for if all the pirates are on that ship?
And distracted.
Michael and Mamie smile in agreement, then move to the ship. The music slows. Wendy nervously puts her head on Jukes' shoulder. Enjoying the moment, Wendy relaxes. The pirates tilt their heads and sigh, also caught up in their moment. Then Jukes is pulled away from Wendy and the music stops. James Hook stands before Wendy. Wendy's breath stops. She looks down and eyes the silver sharp hook of his hand. James reaches out his good hand and offers a slight bow.
May I?
Wendy takes his hand and James pulls her in, wrapping his good hand around her waist, and gently places his hook onto her right palm, positioning her to waltz.
I don't know how to dance. Formally.
You've never learned to waltz?
No, I've not been exposed to much outside my home.
Just follow the hook.
End of episode 2.
Great. All right, that's lunch. Fantastic, everybody. Great work. So let's see if the lunch is here. I'm sure it is.
SMEE, yeah. Captain Hook's most trusted matey to catch ye listeners up. After Wendy Darling brought a terminally ill brother to Neverland so he could live forever, they met with an unfamiliar version of Neverland, one where all hope be lost. The Lost Lands camp has been dismantled, leaving only Curly alone and terrified of the return of the legendary and distinguished Captain Hook. Tiger Lily's tribe has been wiped out, and as a lone vigilante, she hunts pirates, otherwise known as gentlemen of fortune. Peter Pan be nowhere to be found when Wendy hatches a plan to find Peter and save Neverland.
Episode 3. Interior Captain's Quarters, Night. Michael and Mamie sneak into Hook's quarters. Michael stays low to the ground and looks around. He sees the wooden chest and opens it up carefully, pulling out a pair of booties.
Baby shoes? Why does Hook have baby shoes?
Focus. What are we looking for?
The key.
Mamie grabs a pirate hat off the coat rack and places it on Michael's head.
What the hell? A disguise never hurts.
Mamie zips around as she scans the room. She knocks over a lamp, crashing into a cupboard, making piles of tubes fall out. A few maps unravel. Maps of London, map of Neverland, map between London and Neverland. Michael goes over the last map with his fingers searching.
My brother would know how to read these maps. Is this how Hook travels from London to Neverland?
Exterior pirate ship Night. Tiger Lily perks up at movement in the quarters and lifts herself up, seeing the shadow of a pirate hat dancing on the wall. She hides, tucking toward Curly.
There's someone in there.
The Lost Boys could help. They know these pirates. They know how to fight them.
I can handle one pirate.
Tiger Lily grips her dagger in her teeth and slowly opens the window, creeping inside. Exterior pirate ship deck, Night. James Hook studies Wendy as they dance.
Was that your voice I heard singing?
It was.
How did you get here?
I flew.
You're too grown up to fly.
How did you survive that crocodile?
Rattled, James Hook stops dancing and steps back.
Who are you?
You don't recognize me?
No.
Wendy, Moira, Angela, Darling.
Some pirates gasp.
Yeah, no, it's all pirate scouts over here.
Forgive my crew. You were just here.
Wendy shakes her head. No.
Well, why are you here? For Peter?
Wendy holds her hand out again, trembling. James places his hook on it. Interior ship hull, night. SMEE whistles and wanders the narrow hallways of the hull, opening up doors and looking into each room.
Nobody and nothing here.
SMEE opens up another door, looks, closes. SMEE slows down, approaching the metal brick door. He opens the small grate window and lifts his mouth to it.
Peter Pan, today be the day ye die. What is it of that there?
Sounds like a great adventure.
Exterior pirate ship deck, night. James, Hook, and Wendy dance closer now. She leans her head on his shoulder, where she has a clear view of the window inside the captain's cabin. Her eyes widen at the sight of exterior, interior, deck captain's cabin continuous. Tiger Lily crawls in with her dagger lifted in the dark. Michael's back turned. Wendy's eyes widen, seeing a small flicker of light that is MAIMIE. Then she hears jingle, jingle, jingle. Keys dangling on James Hook's belt. Wendy looks back up to see Tiger Lily crawling closer and closer to Michael.
Turn around, Michael. Turn around.
Wendy takes a deep breath. She simultaneously grabs the keys as she plants a kiss on Hook's lips. The pirate crowd reacts with gasps and cheers.
Oh, yeah!
Interior captain's quarters continuous. Hearing the commotion, Michael looks up from being hunched over on the ground, just as Tiger Lily looks up to see Wendy and Hook's kiss.
Ah, no! Wrong pirate!
Michael sees Tiger Lily's reflection, spins around and faces her standing behind him with a dagger. Tiger Lily's eyes widen as she recognizes him, and she angrily rips the pirate hat off his head.
You? What are you doing here?
Exterior pirate ship deck continuous. Wendy's thrown to the ground. James Hook swings his sword, stopping it a hair away from Wendy's neck. He calmly studies Wendy as she tenses with a touch of the blade.
Enough with your games, child.
What? Games?
Now, you're far too clever to play dumb. That was bad form, girl. I should take your head off for that kiss.
I didn't mean to offend.
I suppose I'm the one with those keys you need. While your friends are frantically looking for where I may be hiding Peter Pan.
Wendy averts her eyes, wanting to look behind her, but stuck from the blade against her neck.
I like you. You're honest. It's a shame that I'll have to kill you.
James Hook removes the blade from Wendy's neck, and she exhales with relief. He pushes past the crowd of pirates, opening the door to his quarters. Interior captain's quarters continuous. James walks in, his ship plans laid out on the floor. Tiger Lily, Michael, and MAIMIE all look up at him, stunned.
Well, well, well.
Tiger Lily, Michael, and MAIMIE rise up, hands up.
All of this for Peter Pan. Oh, for heaven's sake! Why? What is it about that boy?
Peter will get you and the other pirates out of Neverland. Whoa.
Sound effects.
Neverland. Peter will get you and the other pirates out of Neverland for good.
Don't talk to him.
Oh, Tiger Lily. You sacrificed so much for a boy who never loved you back. You refused every suitor, your whole family slaughtered, and Peter never bothered to pop in and lift a finger to help. Or to even care to see if he was still alive.
You know he's dead, you fool. He's not dead! He's captured!
Oh. And who are you?
Michael Darling.
No. Michael. You were in nappies.
James Hook kneels down to see Michael eye to eye.
Last time I saw you, you could barely speak. And look at you. A proper child. Time chases us all, doesn't it?
Neverland's my home now. So, I need you to leave here. Forever.
James stands, smiles, amused, impressed.
No, I'm not leaving. You think I left my home, my wife, and... Well, you think I've come here for a laugh?
You have a family?
Bring the girl, Wendy!
Wendy's pulled into the captain's quarters by 2 pirates. One pirate hands James Hook his keys back.
And why are you here? For Peter?
I just want Michael to be safe.
Safe? Have you forgotten how dangerous Neverland is?
Jukes comes through the door, holding Curly up by the collar like a puppy.
Found this one hanging off the side of the ship.
Jukes catches Wendy's look, wide-eyed and appalled.
Ah, Curly. We've been looking for you. The one who stayed behind for Peter. How did that work out,
Only because you captured him.
I told you he's dead.
He's not.
Enough! All of you!
Shall we settle this? SMEE! SMEE! Where is SMEE?
SMEE comes onto the deck, climbing up the ladder.
Oh, here, Captain. Nothing amiss and nothing all's woggling sight.
SMEE freezes as he sees the scene.
SMEE, let's show these roaches Peter Pan, shall we?
SMEE starts walking back toward the ladder, while James walks toward the deck.
Now! Sorry.
SMEE looks at James confused.
Oh, I'm confused now. Take it again.
SMEE starts walking back toward the ladder while James walks toward the deck. SMEE looks at James confused.
Now, SMEE!
Aye, Captain.
Exterior pirate ship deck, night. Wendy, Michael, Tiger Lily, and Curly are all tied up. MAIMIE's inside an upside-down jar on the dining table. The pirates cheer as the plank is set up.
Tiger Lily, it gives me no pleasure to kill you. You've been a worthy opponent, and you made me better.
Tiger Lily is dragged out onto the plank by 2 pirates, who then shove her off, and she splashes into the ocean. The pirates cheer as Wendy, Curly, and Michael cry out for her.
No, Tiger Lily!
Silence!
The ship quiets.
You hear that?
Oh, what me and I supposed to hear, Captain?
It's silent. James laughs.
Him next.
2 pirates grab Curly and shove him off the plank, and he splashes into the ocean. Wendy and Michael find each other's hands to hold within the rope.
Where is Peter Pan,
James Hook nods, and the pirates grab Michael.
No! Leave him alone!
Very well, then. The girl next.
The pirates toss Michael aside and grab Wendy. They take her to the edge of the plank, and she looks at Michael.
I'm sorry I didn't listen, Wendy.
It'll be okay, Michael. I promise.
James holds one finger up as to say, wait.
That Peter Pan is a myth created by each of you. Snatching babies from their prams just to abandon them in Neverland. He is just a child, and there is nothing more heartless than a child.
Stop it. We'll go back to London and listen to Mummy and Father and be good. Please don't do this. I don't want to die. I don't want any of us to die.
James nods as to say no, and Wendy's tossed off the plank.
No!
Silence. No splash.
Wendy?
Flying out from underneath the boat comes Peter Pan, carrying Wendy. She sees Peter and wraps her arms around his neck.
Peter! It's Peter!
MAIMIE lights up in the jar.
Peter? Peter Bloody Pan! Ha! Told you all of you.
Peter zips up, carrying Wendy towards the clouds. Both Michael and MAIMIE's smiles drop.
Peter?
The lost boys, the warriors, the mermaids. No matter how many murders, captures, Peter wouldn't come back for anyone but her. It's always and only her. Wendy.
Exterior ocean night. Tiger Lily and Curly sink down into the ocean until they hit the floor with a soft thud. The two struggle for a moment when mermaid children come up. Curly and Tiger Lily scramble, trying to get away from the mermaids. Finally, the mermaids cut their ropes loose with shell blades. Tiger Lily and Curly swim up desperately until they reach the surface, where they take in a large gasp of air. Looking up to the sky, Tiger Lily and Curly clearly see Peter Pan flying, carrying Wendy.
He's alive. See? Peter.
Peter? Peter!
Peter disappears behind some clouds with Wendy. Tiger Lily and Curly's smiles slowly fade as they continue looking up to the silent, dark sky.
He came back for her. The Wendy.
Thick tears well up in Tiger Lily's wide eyes.
That's not Peter.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It can't be. Would Peter have left me? Us?
Curly's silent as Tiger Lily's chin trembles. She takes a large breath and steadies herself, calm and cold.
What do I care? I'm out of here.
Exterior sky, night. Peter zips up through the clouds as he carries Wendy. Wendy hugs him tightly, safe and present.
Oh, Peter. I'm so sorry about Tinkerbell. Who's Tinkerbell?
Wendy's smile drops. She looks at Peter, bewildered.
Wendy!
Do you hear that? Forget him, Wendy. Stay with me and you'll never have to worry about grown-up things again.
Peter smiles at Wendy and she smiles back, spellbound.
Wendy!
Peter, go back. Hook's gonna kill Michael.
To die would be an awfully big adventure, wouldn't it, Wendy?
Michael can't die. If he dies, then I'll die.
That's a solemn thing to say. Why are you being like this?
I am solemn now. Let me go, Peter.
Peter scowls, then lets go of Wendy. She drops, falling through the sky and screaming. Peter chuckles and dips quickly, catching her. Wendy looks at Peter with horror.
You dropped me!
You told me to.
That's not what I meant and you know it! Bring me back to Michael or you'll never see me again.
You're angrier. And heavier.
You haven't changed one bit.
Exterior pirate ship deck, night. Michael is still tied up, with all pirate eyes on him. James Hook approaches him as Elder Pirate shoves his way closer, sharpening his long saber.
Now that Peter's back, what shall we do with him?
Elder Pirate motions to Michael.
Throw him overboard.
Elder Pirate makes his way to Michael.
No! Wendy, help!
Hang on, Captain. If Peter's up there, who's locked up?
Slash! The sword cuts Elder Pirate's cheek. James Hook turns, pulls out his sword. Then all the pirates pull out their swords to see James Hook's keys dangling with MAIMIE flying, carrying them. James touches his belt. His keys gone.
Blah, 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 blah. Talk. Have you all forgotten about the fairy on the ship? You thought a turned-over jar could hold me? I'm a bloody fairy.
From the shadow behind Mamie's glow steps out John.
And who the hell are you?
It's the Peter from the brig. That's not Peter, stupid. We just saw Peter Pan flying off.
Oh, I'm so much better than Peter.
John!
Huzzah!
John swings his sword and spars with surrounding pirates. Michael watches John with awe. Exterior Mermaid Lagoon, night. Peter plops Wendy down on the rock.
What are we doing here?
I thought you'd tell me a story.
A story? Look around. You should be ashamed of yourself. Letting Neverland turn into shambles like this. Where have you been?
At the gardens.
All this time?
I couldn't stop the crocodile and I wanted my mom. And I thought maybe she looks for me where she lost me.
Wendy softens and takes Peter's hand.
Do you still love me?
Of course I do.
You just seem so angry.
Everyone I love angers me.
Wendy stands and offers Peter her hand.
We need to go back for Curly and Tiger Lily and Michael. You have to save Neverland. They need you.
Peter takes Wendy's hand and stands with her. Then, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Peter pulls out his sword, alert.
It's okay, Peter. It won't hurt me.
The mechanical crocodile lunges out of the water and swallows Wendy whole. Exterior pirate ship deck, night. Tiger Lily and Curly swim and cling onto the side of the ship, a small dinghy dangling above them.
I'll cut it loose. You wait here.
And what about the Lost Boys?
Fine, I'll let you come with me. Will you leave it alone?
I'm not leaving Neverland.
Why? There's nothing for you here.
Patches, no naps, you, everything is here.
Tiger Lily scoffs. Curly wraps his arms around her in a hug, and after a moment, she returns it.
Stay. Please.
Neverland has enough monsters.
Curly continues on alone, swimming to the back of the ship. Tiger Lily grabs a rope off the side of the ship, watching Curly swim off for a moment before climbing up. Exterior pirate ship deck, night. John cuts Michael loose and he scrambles to his feet. John draws his sword and tosses another to Michael. Michael holds the sword up awkwardly. Toothless Pirate makes his way toward Michael. Michael swings the heavy sword. Toothless Pirate dodges the blade, laughing.
That there sword be bigger than ye!
Get back! Or I'll...
You what? Kill me?
Michael gulps. Tiger Lily stealthily crawls onto the ship, pulling out her dagger and saws the rope to free the small boat. John spots Tiger Lily and his eyes widen with awe. Tiger Lily meets John's eyes too before averting hers. A pirate nicks John's shoulder and he yells out in pain. SMEE approaches Michael, smiling large, pushing in front of Toothless Pirate.
Go take care of the big brother.
Toothless Pirate quickly makes his way over to John. SMEE smiles at Michael and holds his hand out.
Little lad, give me the sword before you hurt yourself.
Michael still struggles to lift the sword, but shakes his head no.
You look like a nice lad. You don't want to hurt nobody, do you?
Michael shakes his head no. SMEE reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small lolly.
How about we trade? You give me the sword, I'll give you the lolly.
Michael's stomach growls. He instinctively clutches it. Tiger Lily looks down as the dinghy falls and splashes onto the ocean. She turns and watches as both Michael and John are trapped. Tiger Lily hesitates for a moment before jumping off the ship down to the dinghy. Exterior ocean, dinghy, night. Tiger Lily arranges the oars on the boat and readies herself for a big pull, but stops, seeing the moon shining clearly.
He's just a child, you fool.
Tiger Lily sighs and drops the oars. She leaps onto the side of the large ship, climbing swiftly up the starboard. Exterior pirate ship deck, night. Tiger Lily leaps onto the deck of the ship. SMEE grabs Michael's arms and pries the sword from his hands. John watches Tiger Lily move. Taken by her, she makes her way over the deck.
Whoa.
She kicks Toothless Pirate's sword away.
You're welcome.
John smiles awkwardly as Toothless Pirate rushes toward him. John smiles awkwardly as Toothless Pirate rushes toward him with his fists. John ducks and shoves Toothless Pirate overboard. John smiles, proud of himself. Tiger Lily jumps into SMEE's back, wrapping her arm around his neck.
Swing! Fight! Do something!
Michael's free from SMEE's grip. He grabs the sword. Tiger Lily's eyes plead. Michael drops the sword, flees, crawling under the legs of the horde of pirates. Michael makes his way out and sees Tiger Lily and John cornered by pirates, bodies slumped with weary defeat. MAIMIE flies toward Michael, only to fly right into a jar held by Jukes. James Hook leans against the wall of his quarters as he polishes his hook. He flicks his wrist as to say, "Get them out of here." Interior pirate ship prison, night. The prison door closes on Tiger Lily, John, Michael, their hands bound behind their backs. MAIMIE's light illuminates the prison from her jar.
This seems bad.
I'm sorry. I ruined it.
Fix your crying, Michael.
Hey,
Tiger Lily kicks John and raises her eyebrows to him.
Peter will help us, right?
We don't need Peter. We got each other and Tiger Lily. She's much more impressive than Peter.
Tiger Lily smiles at John as MAIMIE starts to dim.
MAIMIE, are you okay?
Huh? Me? Yes. I think those pesky blighters forgot to punch me a hole for air. Bloody pirates.
MAIMIE passes out and the room goes dark.
MAIMIE!
Exterior Mermaid Lagoon, night. The crocodile splashes out of the lagoon with Peter on its back, the tail swinging until it finally jerks violently, bucking Peter off of it. Peter's thrown up against the rock, head hit.
Ow!
The croc's mouth drops open and it spits Wendy out whole. The crocodile jerks again, thrashing like it's drowning. Peter narrows his eyes and sees Wendy's thimble lodged between gears in the crocodile's exposed ribs. The thimble finally pops loose from the gears. The crocodile coughs up the thimble before disappearing back into the lagoon. Wendy's drenched in slimy crocodile spit, and she quickly wipes the thick layer off her face so she can take a breath. Wendy collapses, exhausted. Peter walks over to her, picking up the thimble and handing it back to her.
I thought I'd lost you.
You didn't.
But I thought I did, and for the first time, if you were gone, too much of me would die with you.
Wendy sits up and takes Peter's hand.
Don't go back to London this time. Just stay.
Stay here. With you?
Yeah. May I ask you something?
Peter lifts up one knee like men do when they propose. Wendy puts her hand to her mouth, surprised when she hears a distant flapping. It's the Neverbird.
Michael!
Interior pirate ship brig, night. Tiger Lily backs up toward John to untie him. Their hands touch, and he holds his breath. She fumbles, pulling awkwardly at the rope until it's loose enough for John to pull out of it. John quickly unscrews the top of the jar, and MAIMIE flops out, hardly being able to make out her lifeless shape.
Untie me!
John unties Tiger Lily, and she unties Michael. Michael picks up MAIMIE gingerly.
No, she's supposed to be Peter's fairy. We promised her. Say you believe in fairies.
What?
I believe in fairies.
I believe in fairies.
Michael and Tiger Lily chant, and nothing happens.
We're too late.
Michael holds on to MAIMIE, heartbroken and sobbing.
I really do believe, you know.
I know, Michael.
I'm tired of you laughing at me, saying there's no such thing. So I told you I didn't believe. You're just so eager to get old like Father and never play anymore.
John looks at Michael, stunned. He looks at MAIMIE taking his top hat off and notices on the rim a faint golden dust. With a gentle blow, the dust dances across the room.
I believe in fairies.
Exterior pirate ship, night. Curly breaks open another hatch of the Lost Boys' cages. As they're jumping out of them and into the ocean, they hear a faint, "I believe in fairies" coming from down below.
I believe in fairies!
Exterior sky, night. Wendy's riding the Neverbird back toward Hook's ship when she hears the sounds of the children cry,
I believe in fairies!
Peter flies up beside Wendy. The two smile at each other.
believe in fairies!
Wendy laughs as Peter crows, zipping on ahead. Interior Brig Hull, night. Mamie's light flickers. Her wings flutter and she sits up, awake, wiping her hair.
What in God's name is on me? Tears? Little boy tears? Disgusting!
MAIMIE!
John and Tiger Lily smile, noticing their hands were clutched together and suddenly let go.
What do you say we get out of here?
How?
John pulls his top hat off and presses his ear against the wall. MAIMIE zips out of the room through a vent. John reaches up and rips the grate cover off the vent. Michael, Tiger Lily, and John smile at each other. Exterior pirate ship deck, night. SMEE supervises the pirates, cleaning up the mess from the evening's battles. He takes his glasses off to wipe them as he walks around the side and notices a moving, blurry blob. SMEE puts his glasses back on and clearly sees. All the lost boys and Curly are climbing onto the ship. SMEE takes his glasses off, puts his glasses back on. The children are even closer now. SMEE turns back around, screaming and running. Interior Hook's chambers, night. James Hook takes his hook off and places it aside. With his good hand, he opens up a drawer. He picks up a baby bonnet, baby booties, and a cloth bib. Hook lifts the bonnet to his cheeks, his eyes misting. SMEE bursts in through the door, chaos outside. Hook drops the bonnet and refastens his hook.
Lost lands, Captain! They've escaped and now we're outnumbered! How could you have let this happen?
James Hook exits the room, pushing past SMEE. A few moments later, the vent grate pops off and MAIMIE flies out with John, Tiger Lily, and Michael following. John and Tiger Lily look outside the window and see the Lost Boys stealthily disabling the pirates one by one with games and tricks. SMEE and Hook emerge onto the deck. The pirates are down on the floor of the deck, groaning, writhing. The ship appears quiet. James Hook pulls out his sword and walks forward confidently as SMEE stays put. A figure steps behind SMEE, tapping him on the shoulder. It's Peter.
Be ye the other Peter?
Other Peter? Who is first Peter?
SMEE's beady eyes narrow behind his spectacles, and he raises his cutlass. Peter flies around acrobatically, sparring with a surprisingly agile man. Thump, 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 thump. Walking up the ramp and onto the deck is 7-foot pirate.
Capture the children. Every last one of them, you hear?
7-foot pirate tips his hat and swings his sword, cutting a rope. A giant net scoops up Curly and a handful of the Lost Boys who have been hiding behind a pile of barrels. They hang above the deck like a school of fish. Wendy pops her head out from hiding and sees an opening. She ties her skirt into a knot when a hand touches her shoulder. It's John.
John! What are you doing here?
Why should you have all the fun?
7-foot pirate swings his sword toward John and Wendy. John blocks it. A sword drops at Wendy's feet. She looks up to see Tiger Lily already high on the mast.
Make yourself useful, will ya?
Wendy smiles, grabs the sword, and joins the fight with John.
You stayed. I couldn't miss squashing pirates, could I?
Tiger Lily begins to work the netted rope loose. James Hook looks over to see Tiger Lily nearly successful in freeing the children. He hastily makes his way over. Michael and MAIMIE have stacked a few crates and barrels to help Curly climb down from the net. Curly drops onto the deck. The rest of the children escape.
No!
As the last child exits, Tiger Lily leaps onto 7-foot pirate. The 7-foot pirate tries to grab Tiger Lily off his back and trips, knocking himself out as he falls. Wendy, John, and Tiger Lily look over at Michael, who smiles back at them triumphantly. Michael's smile drops. He turns around to reveal James Hook and the dagger shoved into his back. Wendy gasps in horror. Hook pulls the dagger out, and Michael drops to his knees and then flat on his face. Wendy, John, and Tiger Lily all run to Michael.
Michael!
Peter flies, abandoning his fight with SMEE, and joins Wendy as she cradles Michael on her lap. Curly and the Lost Boys quietly move to surround them.
I need all you vermin back in your cages, unless you all want to end up with a dagger in you.
Curly and the Lost Boys gulp. They notice they're surrounded by the same pirates that were taken down a moment ago. Michael looks at Wendy, his nose bloody.
I'm sorry. I should have gone to Wales like Mommy and Father wanted. I wasn't strong enough for Neverland.
The ship is silent until Peter flies with his sword pulled back, heading straight for James Hook. Hook pulls up Michael to use him as a shield. Peter still tries to strike.
Peter, stop! You'll hurt Michael!
Hook tosses Michael back and forth as a makeshift shield as Peter spars with him. Hook stumbles, dropping Michael overboard. Exterior ocean, night. Michael splashes and sinks into the ocean, his eyes watching the ship and lights on the surface. Hovering above the surface is MAIMIE, crying out for him until even she becomes dark and Michael shuts his eyes. Exterior pirate ship deck, night. Wendy at the ship's railing watches the water. John joins his sister. The ship's quiet. Even James Hook lowers his sword and softens until Peter strikes again.
Fight me!
James Hook then hears Little Feet running and splashing. He looks to see that Curly and the Lost Boys have fled the ship. James's eyes widen and his head shakes as he watches the Lost Boys swim away and scurry down the ramp. James Hook pulls off his white overcoat, tossing it aside, and turns back to Peter, his sword drawn. The two fight.
Why won't you just die?
Why won't you just leave Neverland, old man?
I will stay as long as it takes.
Wendy wipes away her tears and grabs a sword. She angrily swings at both James Hook and Peter. Both surprised, ward off her angry blows. It becomes clear that it's Peter that Wendy's fighting. Peter's eyes widen with betrayal, and Peter puts his sword away, holding his hands up.
I'm sorry for whatever I did.
Michael's gone.
I'm sorry.
And you left us when we needed you.
And I don't want to be your fairy.
Peter sees all the angry faces looking at him and slumps. Wendy lowers her sword away from Peter, softens as she looks at his pathetic, sad eyes.
You're nothing more than just a boy, Peter.
Wendy then swings her sword towards James Hook. He blocks her with his silver hook. She strikes again, losing steam. James blocks her, knocking her down. Wendy picks up her sword again, swinging, slashing Hook's good hand. Hook flinches as drops of his blood drips at his feet.
Wendy! Michael wouldn't want this.
Exterior ocean, night. Michael's curled in a fetal position at the bottom of the ocean. His shadow wakes up, separates from him, and tugs on him. Memories flash. Wendy in the tree with Michael. Michael in the nursery seeing MAIMIE in the kettle flying over London, finding Curly and discovering the booties in Hook's chest. Michael's eyes open and he's already above the surface. He gasps for air.
Baby shoes!
Exterior pirate ship deck, night. Wendy goes to strike James Hook once more and he swings, knocking her sword out of her hand. Wendy screams, grabbing onto James's silver hook as he raises his sword at her.
He's not here!
James Hook freezes. Peter, Wendy, John, and Tiger Lily turn to look at Michael, standing on the ship's railing, hands on his hips.
Michael!
Michael lifts off the deck, flying, swinging his sword and knocking down scores of pirates with acrobatic ease. Michael lands in a clearing of several pirates floored, who then get up and run away from him. Peter crows. John, Wendy, and Tiger Lily crow. Michael crows even better, louder. It echoes through Neverland, and all pause for a moment. Peter looks at Michael, threatened. James Hook roars with fury and raises his sword and spars with the airborne Michael. Peter moves to help, but Wendy holds him back.
He's got it.
James Hook swings and Michael blocks his blow.
He's not here!
I know he is.
John, Wendy, Tiger Lily, and Peter exchange confused looks. James strikes away Michael's sword and grabs him by the neck.
My father yelled too much, so I didn't say goodbye.
You'll forget him soon enough.
I'll still miss him.
You can't miss what you've forgotten.
Yes, you can. Like you do. Looking for a boy you don't remember.
James Hook begins to shake.
I remember. It's sons who forget their fathers, not fathers who forget their son. What was your father's name, The color of his eyes. You've forgotten already.
I remember he packed away his dreams so I could play. I'm sorry you lost your boy.
I didn't lose him. He was stolen from me. He was robbed right out of his pram, and he's here. He has to be here.
James Hook lowers Michael to the ground and clutches his chest, breathing heavily. A moment of silence before tick-tock, 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 rumble, rumble, rumble. Heavy steps shake the ship.
What's that thing doing here?
The giant crocodile emerges from the ramp of the ship, chomping, tail swinging, and pirates scatter. The crocodile sniffs the ship's deck.
It's after me!
Wendy and James Hook look at each other. Tiger Lily grabs John's hand.
There! My boat!
The crocodile swings its massive tail, knocking pirates off the ship. It makes its way towards James Hook, who covers his face. But it marches past him toward Wendy. Michael steps in front of her. Peter flies, taking his sword and stabs the crocodile in the back. The animal roars, knocking Peter off. Wendy and Michael hit the railing of the ship, trapped.
Need a lift, Angel?
Jukes is on the other side of Wendy, his hands clasped together for a lift. Wendy accepts, plops her foot into his hands, and gives him a soft kiss on the cheek. Then climbs onto the railing and looks down. It's a long drop.
Wendy! Fly!
What if I fall?
The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it.
That's not very comforting, Peter.
Michael floats in front of Wendy.
Just think one happy thought, and it lifts you up.
Wendy squeezes her eyes. Memories of kissing Peter, smiling with Michael on the tree, and hugging her mother. The animal roars, inching closer, and Wendy jumps, soars for a moment before falling right into the small boat with John and Tiger Lily. All others watch as the crocodile turns toward James Hook, following the trail of blood dripping from the wound on Hook's hand.
No, not again!
MAIMIE!
MAIMIE lands on Michael's hand.
I remember one more thing my father said. Misfortunes are often
opportunities in disguise.
MAIMIE and Michael nod at each other before he throws her into the crocodile's mouth like a baseball of light. Tink, 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 tink. The crocodile lunges for James Hook and stops just as its mouth surrounds him. Its shape changes as the ball of light destroys it from the inside. The crocodile collapses into a million pieces, leaving only 2 clocks that were its eyes on top of the pile. MAIMIE brushes her hands clean and curtsies to a bewildered Hook. James Hook looks at Michael in awe and terror. Michael winks as MAIMIE joins him, and he shoots up into the sky in flight. Exterior ocean, night. Wendy, John, and Tiger Lily from the dinghy watch as Michael flies high above. They cheer. Suddenly, SMEE emerges from a cannon port, grabbing Tiger Lily. John and Wendy lunge for her, nearly tipping the boat.
Don't be stupid. Let go of me.
No.
The boat tips again, splashing water over John and Wendy, their hands slipping off Tiger Lily.
I'll come back.
SMEE disappears with Tiger Lily into the ship. Exterior ocean, pirate ship, Night. The pirates unmoor the ship from the dock, and the ship starts sailing free off the island.
Arr, woohoo!
What was that?
Cheering.
Woo!
Exterior Lost Boys lair, night. Peter, Wendy, Michael, John, MAIMIE, Curly, and the Lost Boys gather together. Beaten, bruised, and tired, patches and no nap help dress the many wounds on Michael's back. John puts on a wooden helmet and grabs a sword.
John, what are you doing?
Going back for Tiger Lily.
Mummy's waiting for us.
Peter hands Michael another sword.
This one. It suits you.
Everyone, enough!
I can't leave Tiger Lily.
I'm fine! You're not fine! You're hardly breathing, and I won't lose both my brothers to Neverland.
Wendy grabs the sword from Michael and puts it down.
Wendy, stop it!
There will not be any more adventures tonight. You too, Peter.
Yes, Mother.
Michael drops his head. Curly wipes tears from his face. Wendy looks around at all the somber faces around her.
I'm not your mother, Peter.
I know. I was gonna ask you properly. May I call you Mother? I still feel like I need my mummy.
Wendy's stunned silent, processing. She hears sniffs and turns to see Curly and the other Lost Boys watching solemnly.
Peter, we never stop needing our moms. Will you take care of them?
Peter nods, obediently goes to the Lost Boys, putting his hand on Curly's shoulders. Wendy turns her focus to Michael and John.
Peter's right. I worry. I'm solemn. I've grown up now.
What did you mean when you said you don't want to lose both of your brothers to Neverland?
Because I'm staying.
The ship's miles away and you can't fly.
I'm not going to leave Michael.
We're growing up, John. Neverland is Michael's.
John looks to Michael with wide, teary eyes. Michael also looks to Wendy, scared.
I'm not ready. I want to see Mummy again, and Father. I never said goodbye. I don't want to be here if you and John can't stay.
If I had 1,000 years, I wouldn't be ready to say goodbye. But Michael, you can fly and fight, and you belong to Neverland more than I ever did. And when I tell Mummy and Father about you here, it'll fill us up with happy thoughts to know you're alive in Neverland.
Michael nods, accepting.
MAIMIE, will you take John and me back to London?
As long as I can return straight away to be Michael's fairy.
Really?
We make a good team, don't you think? And after we defeat Hook and rescue Tiger Lily, imagine what this place will be.
We'll jump on the wind's back and swim with mermaids and
banish jars from Neverland. Stories will be told about us for 100 years.
You take good care of the Lost Boys. Understood?
What about Peter?
Wendy looks at Peter as he's putting on armor as the Lost Boys admire him, back under his spell.
Peter will always be searching for a mother's love. Half his time here, and half in the gardens. But you have the best mother in the world. And the Lost Boys need you to show them your mother's love.
I'm going to defeat Hook and rescue Tiger Lily.
I know you will.
And I remember everything now. Every story and every word.
I know you do.
Wendy and Michael embrace tightly, like people do when they say goodbye. John joins, enveloping Wendy and Michael in his grown-up arms, but lifts his head looking out toward the ship in the distance. MAIMIE flies over the siblings, sprinkling pixie dust onto them when Peter faces Wendy.
May I give you one last kiss?
Peter closes his eyes, waiting. Wendy places the dented thimble in Peter's palm. Peter's eyes fly open, looking at the thimble. A real goodbye.
Michael, let's fly.
We'll go now. The pirates least expect us.
John?
John hesitates, looking out toward the ocean, listening to the haunting tune of Tiger Lily's flute coming from the ship.
I'll come back.
Wendy grabs John's hand as Michael and Peter fly up into the sky, illuminated by the moons. Wendy watches Michael soar confidently as MAIMIE's light glows blindingly bright. Wendy's eyes are fixed on her baby brother flying away, smaller and smaller.
I just want to wait until it...
Wendy's eyes shut, blinded. Interior hospital hallway, day. Wendy's eyes open. Wendy's sitting. The wall behind her is a forested mural. She wipes several tears away from her cheeks. Beside her is John, clasping Wendy's hands tightly and sobbing loudly. We see a door jar next to Wendy and a figure in white performing compressions on a small body obscured by a curtain. Interior hospital hallway, day. Wendy sits alone. Now John, Mr. and Mrs. Darling are speaking to a doctor in a white lab coat.
Wendy?
Wendy snaps to and looks in front of her. It's Curly in a hospital gown. His hair is dull and limp, rather than the luscious curls we're used to seeing.
I was looking for Michael.
Wendy sits up straight and notices the dented kettle in her lap and looks into it. Curly cocks his head, curious to see what she sees.
Could you do me a great favor, Curly? MAIMIE's sleeping in here. Do you see her? Shh. Be gentle now. Could you keep her in your room for a little while?
Curly leans over and looks into the empty kettle.
Yes. Yes.
Curly takes the kettle from Wendy.
And when you find Michael...
1 second before we get to Mr. Darling and that. Can we take that exchange with Curly again? And just keep that somber on this one, Kensington?
Yeah.
Just like...
That was my fault.
No, that wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No, I made you laugh.
No.
Oh, no, that was
Let's just get an alternative.
No, it was your
on
fault.
that.
I said that.
Could you do me a great favor, Curly? MAIMIE's sleeping in here. Do you see her? Hush. Be gentle now. Could you keep her in your room for a little while?
Yes. Yes.
Curly takes the kettle from Wendy.
And when you find Michael, tell him I say hello.
I will.
And to chew with his lips shut.
I'm bad at that too.
Curly starts to walk down the hall with the kettle in hand, past John, the Darling parents, and the doctor. John and the Darling parents break away from the doctor and walk towards Wendy, snapping her out of her trance.
We're going now.
Where?
Home.
Wendy nods as if to say, of course. Her family continues their walk toward the exit. Wendy slowly stands and follows her family. She passes by a room and sees Tiger Lily in bed wearing a hospital gown. She lifts her hand up to wave. Wendy waves back. A tap-tap of 2 fingers on Wendy's shoulders. It's James Hook in the doctor's lab coat, holding a clipboard.
I just wanted to say...
Don't, please.
I just wanted to say that was an incredible adventure.
Wendy smiles politely, forced. James gives her a hug.
You're a remarkable sister. How is it that one flies? Just so I know how to tell the other children.
Tell them. Just think of happy thoughts and you'll fly. Think about the joy you'll find when you leave the world behind.
Wendy smiles again, this time different, relaxed, at peace. As we walk with Wendy, we see the vastness of the forest mural. The lobby with overturned furniture made into forts, and lost boys in hospital gowns play fighting. SMEE, the janitor, sweeps the floor and nods at Wendy. As Wendy reaches the door,
Wendy!
Wendy turns and sees Jukes, clean cut and in a lab coat. He brushes his fingers through his hair nervously.
Thank you for bringing me to Neverland. We'll miss you.
Thank you. Did you believe it?
Every moment.
If you're ever in Bristol,
Oh, I thought you lived in London.
I'll be at school in Bristol.
Jukes nods. Wendy offers him a weary smile and waves goodbye. Interior nursery, night. Wendy, wearing all black, sits in the nursery, boxes packed of Michael's belongings. The room is just a shell of what it once was. Mrs. Darling sleeps in a chair. Wendy opens the nursery window and several skeleton leaves flutter into the room. Mrs. Darling shudders in her sleep. Wendy notices a tear running down her mother's cheek, and she softly kisses it away, then drapes Michael's blanket over her. Peter shows up at the window watching Wendy with her mother.
Wendy grew up. You need not feel sorry for her. She grew up of her own free will, a day faster than the other girls.
Wendy looks up and sees Peter at the window, just a glimpse before he flies away. Wendy walks to the window, gazing at the night sky. Clouds floating in front of the moon and two bright stars to the right. Wendy hears distant crowing and smiles. She shuts the window, locking the latch before exiting the room. A moment later, Mr. Darling enters, taking wounded steps toward the window, and flips the latch unlocked. Fade out. The end.
So fun.
Crying.
You know what, Jenna? I may still be wrong, but I never understood the Mr. Darling leaving the latch.
Oh, I love it. You always leave the window for anybody to come back.
That's right. I just got that now though, because I'm not as smart as you. Okay? That's what I was just.
That's the final life. You know why? Peter Pan stuff.